Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Yes, yes, yes. On a Tuesday, Sacktown Sports, Allen Stiles Show, taking you up to 2 p.m. Had some fun with Carmichael Dave. I hope everyone knows that we're just joshing around. Some of the text line, you just never know who's listening, maybe even for the first time. So I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea about me.
About Big City Allen?
I grew up in Concord, okay? That is not necessarily a big city.
Ooh, Concord.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
How fancy.
Grew up in Concord, spent some time, obviously, in Oakland. I've never actually lived in San Francisco. The biggest city I've ever lived in, actually, technically, was Philadelphia during college. But as an adult, I have never lived in San Francisco. I just never wanted to live in San Francisco. I lived in Oakland. I lived in Alameda. Grew up in Concord. So I don't even know. I'm not even the big city guy, the 209. This Allen is a tool. And I'm okay if you call me a tool, but please spell my name right. So I responded and I said, it's Allen. I spelled it correctly. But thank you. We're going to have some fun today as we go so hard on the Kings every single day. And why wouldn't we? They are our Beam team. I think that's still their name. And there are a lot of important conversations to be had as we head into the second half. But I want to do it gradually. I don't want to burn us out too early. The game is not till Friday. It's a huge game, by the way. I mean, you want to talk peak. Anyone that has a friend coming in town or friends coming in town this weekend, you don't even need a ticket to the game. I don't know what the weather looks like. I think it might rain tomorrow, but I got to check for Friday. You don't even necessarily need a ticket to the game. Just be in the Doco area on Friday. If you want to impress your friends, and like I said, when I'm trying to ride for Sacramento, Dave's trying to make it sound all bad. I'm trying to ride for Sacramento. Doco will be at its peak glory on Friday against the Golden State Warriors. I don't know how I feel about the actual game, but Doco will be at its peak energy on Friday. So we're going to get you there. We have some people we're going to talk to along the way as we get through this week, which is a weird thing because it's All-Star Week. All-Star just ended, but now you have the residual effects from All-Star Week, and there aren't games until the end of the week, but we have plenty to get to as far as the Sacramento Kings, the NBA as a whole, also Major League Baseball. Now Dave started it now, and I finally can talk some Major League Baseball. And Mark Kotsay, the manager for the A's, getting extended, what that means as the A's try to continue to build on the idea of stability as they are here in Sacramento before they head off to Vegas, whenever that may be. Now, based on when they do go to Vegas, that will determine whether Mark Kotsay gets a year. He could get a year in Vegas. He could get 2 years in Vegas. He might not get 1 year in Vegas. We don't know. But what we do know is for the next couple of years, we can confidently say that Mark Kotsay will be the manager for your Athletics of Sacramento. Your Athletics that are in Sacramento. I think I'm okay to say
we're
that.
calling them the Sacramento Athletics. I don't care what they're saying.
You call in, you can call them whatever you want. And look, I think, you look at the Lawrence Butlers of the world, you sign Brett Rooker, you sign Luis Severino. I think that they will be, at the very least, interesting. They will be interesting enough to be in enough close games to go to a Mason Miller, to maybe have a light show or something like that for Mason Miller. So I'm really excited that the city of Sacramento has some Major League Baseball. How we got here, not to say I agree with that, but it's here now. So let's enjoy it, and hopefully we see some W's and a lot of them. I don't want to talk about Shohei Ohtani hitting homers. I don't want to talk about Aaron Judge hitting homers. I want to talk about Lawrence Butler. I want to talk about Brent Rooker. Dave said he doesn't want to talk about Shea Langoliers. Well, dang it, I want to talk about Shea Langoliers in Game 73. So a lot to be excited about.
Wait, you do?
As we head into the summer, but I do need to tie a bow on the All-Star game and everything that has been talked about. A lot has been talked about as far as the All-Star game, whether or not you can fix it. Like I said, I was in the building, and I can confidently say that the Kevin Hart thing was very awkward. We need the drop from Chris Watkins, very corny, very cringe, because that's exactly what it was. This is from Clutch Points. This year's NBA All-Star game felt more like a social event than actual basketball being played. According to Clutch Points, there were 2 hours and 26 minutes of commercials and breaks, and the All-Star games actually being played 33 minutes and 41 seconds. And honestly,
very corny, very cringe.
Thank you, Chris. And honestly, based on me, what I saw, that does feel correct. I don't know that Clutch Points got it exact, but honestly, it does feel correct because there was a lot of standing around. There was one point where Kevin Hart was doing his Kevin Hart thing and they wouldn't check the ball in. I don't know if the refs were told, hey, if they're doing one of their things, don't say anything or don't pass the ball in. But literally it was a bunch of dudes on the court waiting for Kevin Hart to stop talking before they pass the ball in. So I think that it's one of those things where good in spurts, but Kevin Hart for 3 hours where you don't know who, I saw one post, I think it was from Molly Morrison, I believe is her name. She said, really cool that the NBA players get to play some basketball in between this Kevin Hart special, because that's kind of what it felt like. Again, the props and wearing Shaq's hat in spurts, funny. There was just too much. It was just too much all the time. That's exactly what it was. And, it was just oversaturation over the last couple hours. You have him pop in, pop out in between games. I think he would not be getting roasted the same way he was getting roasted. But when it turned into what I think they should have, what I thought they were going to do is, and Kyle, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but y'all remember the And One mixtape. So this is how, as we're getting into baseball season, I will be one of the in-game hosts for the Sacramento River Cats. So you come out to a game, I might be in the building. I'm splitting it with my guy Lee. So Lee's got some games. He's been doing it for a very long time. This is my first year doing it, and I'm very excited. So the reason I got into the whole in-game hosting thing, to be completely honest with you, it was from And One. It was from the And One mixtapes where it was, oh, baby, hot sizzle. That's what I thought Kevin Hart was going to be doing. Now, I get it. It's not an And One game, so, they're running up and down. But I thought he was going to be on the sideline, and okay, hop in for a little bit, hop out, whatever it is. That's what I thought Kevin Hart was going to be doing. That's not what he did. It was, let me find, and let me be honest with you. There is nothing tougher. Now, Kevin Hart is a very accomplished comedian, but even myself doing certain things, freestyling is really tough. And freestyling for 3-4 hours, I'm sure he got paid handsomely. But freestyling for 3 hours based on what's happening, what's not happening, he ended up, saying Shaq looked like a X-rated director. I mean, that type of stuff can happen when you're asking somebody. If you asked a rapper to freestyle for 3 hours straight and you said you can't cuss or whatever it is, it'd be really tough unless that rapper was Will Smith or something like that. So it just got to a point where if you boil that down and maybe do a third of Kevin Hart, and there's a joke in there, but I'm not tall enough to make that joke, but a third of Kevin Hart, I think would have been much better and much more appreciated, because on social media, there were a bunch of funny clips. It's just, if you were there or if you tried to watch it and it's 2.5, 3 hours of it, it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
Oh, I get it, because you're both short.
Well, I don't say the SH word. I don't say the SH word. So a lot of people are trying to fix
Zont.
That's right. A lot of people were more horizontal. A lot of people are trying to figure out a way to fix the All-Star game. There have been conversations about one-on-one tournaments. There's the LeBron thing, and everybody getting mad at LeBron. I have a theory about that, but I want to save it because I think we might be wrong or mad at the wrong person. Just based on how things are adding up, there's something that isn't adding up to me. Okay, and I'll tell you exactly what that is. We got the drama from the All-Star game. We got some A's talk we want to get into. I go back and forth on what Dave had to say on his show about the All-Star game never coming to Sacramento. Since I was in the building, I'm trying to liken it to what it would look like in Sacramento. We're giving out grades for the first half of the Kings season, and we will do that throughout the week. So we'll start out with a couple players today and get through all of them going up until Friday when they take on the Golden State Warriors, who Draymond, how did I talk about the All-Star for 10 minutes and not even mention Draymond? Because this was the Draymond party. Also, speaking of TNT, Kenny the Jet has some things to say about Coach Doug Christie and why he believes that the interim tag should be taken off. We get into the second half of the season, and we finally get Kyle's wish, and we play the newest edition of the scheduled game. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Is your garage door stuck in the winter blues? Well, February is the perfect time to give it some love. Jason Ross here to tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. And they're here to keep your garage door running smoothly. This February, they're spreading the love with their Sweetheart Special, $150 off a garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Now, the experts at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento provide fast, reliable service that's always on time and always done right. From squeaky hinges to full door replacements, they've got you covered. So don't let your garage door be the heartbreaker this season. Visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com for your free estimate. You can get in touch with them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, opening doors to your home and your hearts this February and all throughout the year. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
From the 916, too much Kevin Hart in general. He's everywhere, like Will Ferrell a few years back. Overkill, even if you're funny. What's funny to me, 916, is I actually feel like I see Kevin Hart less. I think it was worse like 2-3 years ago. But he never went away per se. But I hear what you're saying. That's also how I feel about the Mannings. That's also how I feel about the Kelceys. We're getting there now. We're not there yet with Travis, but once Travis retires, and I don't know if he will or not this season, but it's not going anywhere.
I feel
the Mannings are never going anywhere.
No, because they're the royal family of football.
Yeah.
Really the royal family of sports, but specifically the royal family of football. Maybe even America's royal family, although I think that's probably the Kardashians.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go that far, but I hear you, 916.
Yeah, I feel like the Kevin Hart at peak Kevin Hart is everywhere was when it was him and The Rock were always
They did
everywhere.
Eight movies together that were all the same.
They were also in every commercial. They were on every social media feed. I think I've read before, like Kevin Hart's one goal in life, this is kind of a sad way to think of it. His one goal in life is to become a billionaire. And so that's why you see him in every single like commercial. He will take all of your money because his goal in life is to become a billionaire.
And if you're going to give it to him, hey, why not? You know, and I'm so sick, and I don't know if this guy is listening, but I don't know how this joke started. But every time I go to a Kings game, I got Kevin John from ABC screaming. You know that guy. You know Kevin is loud as hell. What's up, Kevin Hart? In front of actual other media members. And I keep telling Chris, dude, he's going to catch me on a bad day. He's going to catch me on a bad day. Kevin John is.
Is that a new one for you?
No, it's not a new one, but he's a little too damn loud about it. So
you don't want other people to get the wrong idea?
Well, he said it about 5 times now. Okay, game 1, game 2 was funny. Now I might have to throw hands next time I see Kevin John.
Yeah, I really hope no one clips that and sends it to him because they have his phone number.
Celebrity, what was it? Celebrity Deathmatch on MTV. I'll do, Dave was talking about UFC, the early days. If I catch Kevin, call me K Hart one more time, we're going to have some problems, okay? We're going to have some problems. And there were some problems with the All-Star game. I wanted to take it here, though, because everybody is ragging on LeBron about, hey, that could have been most people just said Norman Powell. Nobody even mentioned Sabonis, who already was in the building, to be fair, from the three-point contest, but it could have been either of them, right? Norman Powell, it could have been Sabonis. Some people said, what about Devin Booker? So everybody is bagging on LeBron. And Anthony Edwards, I almost called in when Dave was talking because Anthony Edwards, I guess the whole thing was that he was sick. He was on the court shooting around for at least 30 minutes, then proceeds to do a bunch of trick shots from half court with Steph. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was a stomach bug, but I'm thinking if you're too sick to play, why are you around other players? So when Dave said, because I didn't even really know what the deal was, when Dave said he was sick, I just thought that was interesting because he was out there with the players for at least an hour. So, and I know you're not playing in a basketball game, but it's also an all-star game, and you're around these dudes. So the Anthony Edwards thing, it was just confusing to me. As far as the LeBron thing, and Dave almost touched on this, so I'm going to take it a step further. My question is, what did LeBron have to gain from waiting until the night of to say something? That's what I would ask. What did LeBron have to gain? Because you don't lose your spot. Giannis said it early, and they replaced that spot. Giannis still was in all the pictures. He still had to do, he still did what he wanted. LeBron doesn't even suit up. So it's not as if it's not coming off as if he wanted to take the spot and he just, I don't want anybody to take it even though I can't play.
I think LeBron literally took pictures in street clothes.
He did, and people made fun of him for that. So I'm saying here, why is nobody talking about the fact that the league maybe had the information? Now, I don't know this, but LeBron said, yo, I'm probably not playing. And Adam Silver said, okay, so the weekend that everybody makes fun of already, and I got to lie through my teeth and say everything is fine with it, the weekend that everybody kind of bags us for, our biggest star is saying he can't play. Yeah, LeBron, we'll get back to you, but can you just show up? I believe, and I love my conspiracies, I believe that the league knew LeBron wasn't playing, and they're the ones that decided to, I guess, let LeBron fall on the sword, because they could have come out. And again, I don't know this, but think about it. Why would what does LeBron care? He's all about growing the game. I know a lot of people don't love LeBron, but you don't lose your all-star. So if LeBron was all over media and was at least dressed, that would tell me, hey, he really wanted to be a part. What I'm saying is he could have done exactly what he did and told the NBA. So why didn't he do that? My thought is that he did, and the NBA decided, yeah, we're just going to hold on to that info because we don't want a bunch of people that flew out for this, that were even coming from all over the Bay Area, to now not spend. And I didn't look up the ticket prices. I were told they were really dang expensive.
Well, I did, because I went out to the Bay and did not get into any events because those ticket prices were cost prohibitive.
So we're trying to sell this product, and we're not going to say that LeBron isn't playing. I believe in my heart of hearts that LeBron told them. And LeBron, maybe in 5-10 years or wherever, will say it. But right now, hey, I'm trying to do what I can for the league, and he understands the business side of it. That's probably why he figured, I really don't care. Because the other weird thing, and I don't think they did availability after, I'm just curious now, based on when practice gets going again, is anybody going to ask LeBron, or, and what does he say if he gets asked? Because my thought process is, why in the world would LeBron do exactly what he just did? It doesn't make any sense. He could have done exactly what he did and Sabonis and Norman Powell be there. Norman Powell was there for 3-point.
Okay, so I guess maybe that's why I feel like it's not a big deal, or why people aren't making a deal out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with you. There's an incentive for the NBA to not say LeBron's not going to be there a week in advance, because LeBron is still this, quote unquote face of the NBA, ambassador for the NBA, whatever you want to call it. But it feels like it's kind of like not a victimless crime, but like no one really got hurt by the fact LeBron didn't play, except you could argue Norman Powell or Domantas Sabonis don't get their All-Star game nod, which
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Which is not that big of a deal.
Well, to me, look, man, like I said, I'm a medium millennial. I'm not an older millennial. I'm not a younger millennial. But you know what my father would say to me if the same thing were happening? He would say, well, don't put yourself in a position. And I know there's politics involved, and Domantas Sabonis got snubbed, and a lot of people think Norman Powell got snubbed. But my daddy would tell me, don't put yourself in a position where it can be controlled by other situations. He would sit there and tell me, you're crying. And not to say Norman Powell nor Sabonis, they're not saying anything, but the fans. So you're crying because you weren't good enough to be an all-star, and somebody that was good enough to be an all-star didn't give up their spot.
And also weren't good enough to be a replacement either.
The first go round. So what are we actually talking about? Now, that's how my dad would think about it. And again, there's more that goes into it. But when you boil it all down, the reality is you didn't get it. Did LeBron do something wrong? Depends on who you ask. And to me, I believe that he told the NBA, and the NBA said, yeah, we're just going to keep that quiet. Thanks, LeBron. And then LeBron probably feels kind of, hey, man, you guys are making me look crazy, but LeBron also understands the business, right? You can't have Norman Powell come out from the wings where Kevin Hart and everybody came out from. And it's Norman Powell. The other part of it, before we get to the other side, I don't think this is this is to a lesser degree, but there weren't a lot of minutes to go around. We already told you 33 minutes of basketball was played within the 3 games. I think there's also a world where I don't think this is why LeBron would or wouldn't have said anything, same with Anthony Edwards, but these guys, nobody was playing a lot besides the dudes. You know what I mean? Zach Edey, I think he played 3 minutes or something like that. So not a lot of minutes to go around. Everybody wants to see their team as well. So you bring in a Norman Powell. Hey, we know you bring in Sabonis. Hey, we know you didn't make it originally. We know you didn't make it for the first backup, but here's 1 minute. And hey, honey, I get to, do you even go home saying the same way? Hey, I got named an all-star because two guys got hurt. And you could throw Anthony Edwards in there too. Norman Powell and Sabonis, they go home. Does it even hit the same?
I don't know. When De'Aaron Fox was a replacement all-star 2 years ago, he basically was like, hey, I'm not going to play, but it's kind of cool to be here, and I don't really care that I'm not playing, but I'm glad that I'm an all-star, was basically his response to it. So yeah, I don't think it matters that much. And yeah, to that point, I hadn't even considered, because I straight up did not watch the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really do substitutions when it's 3-on-3, 1st to 21, huh? You can't. They
did quick ones. They were quick.
Like, you can't really substitute people in for an 11-minute game all that much.
Yeah. All right. On the other side, we get to Dave's sound on why the All-Star game is never coming to Sacramento. And speaking of Sacramento, we get into a little bit of A's talk. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh, my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Malik Monk, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Curran in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We may see some areas of patchy morning fog, otherwise mostly sunny to start the day, with temperatures starting out in the low 40s, highs this afternoon in the mid 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA app.
Just like in basketball, you need the right team to win, and that's why I recommend Folsom Lake Kia. They got low payments that change the game, and you can always buy with zero down with approved credit. Shop Folsom Lake Kia and tell them DC sent you.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, that's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave coming to you from my good friends at American Energy. Look, it's already cold outside. It's only going to get colder. American Energy wants to help you stay warm and make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of the $49 tune-up inspection. Normally, $119, $49 right now, and that includes a full safety and duct inspection. And check it out. If your system's over 10 years old, and I'll bet it is, the tune-up, yeah, it's free. It's free from a company that's been in business since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ Better Business Bureau. Check their Yelp, check their Google reviews. Don't take my word for it. Give them a call right now. $50 off your first recommended repair. If you need a new furnace, half off the price of a new unit. Check them out at theaeway.com and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
So let me just get this off my chest right now. I don't know what is wrong with the text line right now. It is not my fault that there is no Kings basketball today. Get a grip. Go touch some grass. We are not handling any type of disrespect on the text line. The block is hot. You will get blocked. If you care enough to text in because you think you're going to be a keyboard warrior, you can take that to Twitter, okay? It's loser behavior. And you know who I'm talking to, all right? The 209, making the All-Star game, this is the same 209, says, making the All-Star team matters if there's a bonus in your contract. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, 209. And I don't care how your name is spelled. Okay, that's fine, 209. Like I said, we all understand that. We're not idiots. The point is that you are a backup to a backup. So acting like, oh, man, someone deserves something, they didn't get it. All right, if you're a participation trophy person, cool. Why don't we just, anybody, all right, just sub anybody in. Nobody is saying they didn't deserve it, but what do we're crying because LeBron decided to show up and, oh, man, you're going to get a contract, whatever. At the end of the day, if you ever competed in anything in your life, you know it's not the same. If you are a backup, you know. Now, yeah, sure, you still get the bonus, but come on now. Come on. All right. As we get into this sound from Dave saying that the All-Star game is never coming to Sacramento, I don't know if that's true or not. Let's hear what he had to say.
I'm just here to tell you again, and I hate saying it every year, Sacramento is nowhere near close to getting an All-Star game. It's almost certainly not going to happen in my lifetime unless somebody comes up with the magic cracked code to figure it out, as they almost did about 10 years ago with the cruise ship. But it's the hotel space and lack thereof that is screwing Sacramento. And it's why you see places like Orlando, which is a similar demo to Sacramento, but that is a destination city. It is a resort city. They have plenty of hotel rooms. Same thing in Salt Lake City, plenty of hotel rooms. You just don't have that here. So unless somebody wants to build about 15 more 5,000 room hotels, we got a problem. And it's too bad because, God, an all-star game would be so amazing in the city of Sacramento.
So Dave goes on to say, at least not in his lifetime. And from what I've heard, obviously, Dave has been here for a very, very, very long time. But from what I've heard, there are ideas spinning and being made to get those hotels built, to get to the, I was talking to some business owners in downtown, a couple buddies of mine, to get where it needs to be. Then you also have to get picked. So I don't even know how much of it is just meeting the requirement versus getting picked. I think that for me, seeing, and I was only there for Sunday, but seeing everything that the Bay had, Chris and I were talking, and it's definitely not congested. If anything, it was almost too spread out within the city or throughout the city. But I would say you look at where they had the G League game was over here, and then you had the actual NBA game obviously at Chase, and you had after parties here and other parties there. And I think the reality is, I think it's the other pieces that would be the problem. I think it's all the different buildings that were used and convention centers that were used in San Francisco. Now, again, that was my first All-Star game, but I think the issue more than once you get the requirement of the hotels would be, number one, just, you got, and that's why, look, I know it sounds stupid, but Gilbert Arenas and people with big platforms just talking trash about Sacramento, that's why it annoys you, because I know it sounds stupid, but it does matter. It does actually matter. So, you have the kind of stigma that you're fighting through. And then on top of that, you need enough spaces to put on different things. I mean, as we're driving to the, or walking to the shuttle, there were random Nike pop-ups, within Finish Line stores and things like that. So it's it's a lot going on, which I definitely think is maybe more of, or just as much as the issue. I think you can cook up enough hotels eventually, but on top of that, I just think there's so much going on. I don't know if right now it would be viewed that Sacramento could support all of that.
Yeah, I think the hotels are the first step, because that's what David Stern used to tell Sacramento, and I'm sure Adam Silver's reiterated some of that now, is that like you got like they will never host an all-star game in a city that doesn't have, I think it's like 75,000 hotel rooms or something like that. They've said straight up they won't do it. To the point about like viability of Sacramento in terms of all that stuff, I mean, they put the last 3 all-star games in Cleveland, Salt Lake City, and Indianapolis. So I don't think Sacramento is like this, oh, no one wants to go to Sacramento or there's a barricade of entry. It's like, no, the NBA will put the all-star game in any of their cities.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the NBA is moving more and more towards the NFL model, where the NFL used to go to different places for the Super Bowl, and it's starting to feel like they're kind of, now that all the giant stadiums are built, they've kind of hit the point where it's like, we're only doing it indoors, and we're only doing it in this rotation of 6 cities, basically. And I think the NBA is probably going to move there. Honestly, if it weren't for that debacle of a Las Vegas All-Star game in 2007, they might just put it in Las Vegas every year once they get an NBA team there, make it like Summer League where it's always in Vegas. That wouldn't hurt, but I just don't look at the All-Star right now and be like, that's an attractive, like you have to have it right now. And so I don't feel like Sacramento, even if they got the hotel space, or even if they got the convention space, or even if people had to drive down to Stockton for the HBCU Classic or the, Rising Stars, whatever else, because they use multiple venues and things like that, I don't necessarily think... I think they wouldn't have a problem getting picked because the NBA is going to all these different cities right now. So I just think it's going to be cost prohibitive to get it in the first place. But at the same time, I don't think they'd have an issue getting picked. They're picking Milwaukee possibly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But again, I don't know, maybe I'm tripping, but I do think that the Milwaukee doesn't really have a stigma. I do think that Sacramento has a stigma.
Milwaukee does in the Midwest. Maybe we're not talking about it as much here.
But I think that matters. I think your national perception matters.
I just put out Milwaukee because it's like, okay, Chicago to Milwaukee is basically San Francisco to Sacramento in terms of drivable distance. So like they had the All-Star game in Chicago 5 years ago. They're thinking of putting the All-Star game in Milwaukee in 2028. So it's like, it's not impossible to have that. They're going to hit all the cities. I mean, I'm looking back at some of these All-Stars and like they will hit pretty much anyone. I mean, they've done it in Orlando. They've done it in Indianapolis, Salt Lake. They've done it in Charlotte. They're thinking about doing it down in Milwaukee. So like it's in Phoenix in 2027. So like it's not out of the question. They won't hit every NBA city. They have a nice stadium for it, but it's just not feasible to have really 150,000 people pouring into the city.
Well, I'll tell you this much. If you had asked Dave, I don't know, and Dave knows things, but you asked the typical Sacramentan 5 years ago if you thought that MLB would come to Sacramento, they'd probably say no. Now, I know there are reasons that it happened, but it's still here. It is still here. Doesn't matter how it got here.
Temporarily.
It is here, and it's just a weekend. It's just an all-star weekend. That's all it is. It's a couple days.
I mean, I thought I was out in the Bay. I didn't do any of the actual like game event stuff, but I just thought the aesthetic of All-Star was cool. I saw it when I was a kid in Los Angeles. I've seen it here in San Francisco. So like, yeah, the aesthetic of All-Star Weekend in San Francisco was a really cool idea. It was fun to have inside the NBA out on the patio and do all that stuff. Like, how cool would it be if inside the NBA was broadcasting from Doco? Oh, that would be amazing. But I just don't think it's feasible right now, and that's fine.
But Dave saying his lifetime, I don't know how long he plans on living, saying his lifetime is a little extra to me.
I mean, you heard him say it. It's basically 15 5,000 room hotels have to be built in Sacramento. And I mean, it's not quite San Francisco, but there's just like not enough room to build 5,000 room hotels in downtown or midtown or around the river. I know that they're building the new soccer stadium down by the rail yards, and so maybe that's an opportunity to build some hotels and things of those sorts in that area, but that's also incredibly cost prohibitive.
Yeah, all I know is that from there, when we did the Valentine's Day, the pre-Valentine's Day dinner, our server was even talking about it, and they're definitely going to try. Whether they'll get it, I don't know. Whether they'll get to where they need to go, I don't know. But there is a feeling in Sacramento that they are going to try to make the necessary changes to get there. And like I said, obviously Dave knows. I'm just saying, when I speak to the people of Sacramento, they definitely everyone is talking about getting All-Star. Now, maybe not everybody knows the extent that Dave knows, but there are definitely conversations about upping the amount of hotels and trying to get to that amount and number that they need to be able to do that. But like I said, look, Major League Baseball is in Sacramento. Who would have thought that? We talk a little bit of A's on the other side, and we wrap up the All-Star game for the 11 o'clock hour where we give you Kings. Fine, we'll do it. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for usages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Lowe's knows that your deadlines don't change, even when your job does. But with Lowe's Buy Online, Pick Up in Store, we'll help you adjust on the fly. And when you absolutely can't leave the project, we can deliver to your job site as soon as same day. Lowe's knows pros. We help, you save. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now, during our President's Day sales event, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Save thousands with low APR financing and great lease rates on over 500 new Hondas at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Shout out to the Sack Chat, always holding it down. Hope everybody had a good weekend, whether it was 2 days or 3 days, taking you up to 2 p.m. Allen Stiles here. I'm seeing all these clips come out from the Court of Gold, the Netflix doc on the Team USA Olympic run. And, you know, if you've been listening to the show, you know I'm not big on these shows where we already know what happened, these documentaries, because talk about Kevin Hart, just a little bit of oversaturation. But I the more I see these clips, the more I might have to fire it up. Full disclosure, wifey is out of town. She is in Vegas for a work trip, so it's just me and the kiddo for the next couple days. So maybe this is the time where I need to fire it up. I'm seeing a lot of different clips, and I mean, it was pretty awesome, the whole thing and how it went down. So I'm curious who is interested in that, because there are a lot of documentaries these days. But this one, you know, you throw USA into the mix, and there's that pride, the clip of Kevin Durant crying that's been going around. So maybe this is one I will actually fire up.
I mean, I remember you were big on the Olympic basketball over the summer when we were doing shows together, but like I said, I was rooting for the French, so I don't know how much I'm going to be in on this documentary.
Cut his mic. Actually, there's no one else to cut the mic.
I also just don't have Netflix, so if someone can lend me their password,
Can't do that anymore.
Oh, you can't?
No, can't do that anymore. And they're raising prices. So yeah, I just saw another clip during the break, and I thought, all right, maybe I'll fire it up. I just feel like I'm the type of person where I'm probably gonna watch I don't know how many episodes there are. I'll probably watch the first episode and the last episode. That's how
I think my
goes.
philosophy with what you're talking about there being so many documentaries where we know what happens, like the Drive to Survive or the Starting Five or, you know, quarterback, wide receiver, whatever. My point is that if any of them are any good, I will know about it, and therefore I will then go and watch it. Because like with the quarterback thing, I was like, okay, everyone's telling me it's garbage, so I'm not going to watch it. They say nothing interesting. The wide receiver, they didn't give any good access. So I'm just going to trust that if this thing is actually worthwhile, that I will know about it.
There was so I do this thing where I will watch random stuff that I don't feel like there's enough coverage of. I'll watch. So the first time I got my teeth cleaned, what was it, last year or something? Olympics were around the corner. I fired up the track Netflix documentary, and it was awesome. It got me super juiced for the Olympics, so it was great. This time I got my teeth cleaned a couple weeks ago. I'm scrolling through, I'm just trying to find something, and this is going to sound hilarious. I end up watching the polo documentary on polo, like with the horses.
Yeah.
Because I just figured I don't know anything about this. And, you know, my buddies, they all want me to watch the F1 one. And I know there's a golf one. The golf one, I don't know. But
full swing.
Yeah, full swing. Everybody loves that. But it came up and I watched the polo one. I housed that whole series and learned a lot about the game of polo, the greats in polo. I mean, there's these dudes, it's like big in Florida. And all these guys are rich.
But did you actually enjoy it?
I did. I mean, I finished it on my own time.
Oh, okay. So you actually went back.
I didn't get my teeth cleaned that long. I watched the first episode and I finished it. I took time out of my day to watch it.
How many episodes were there?
Oh, 4 or 5.
Okay, that's not as bad. I was like, if you committed 8 hours of your time.
No, I couldn't do that.
To learning about polo.
This is the time to do it. Waiting for NBA to come back, and Major League Baseball is coming around as well. So Mark Kotze gets extended, and that will be through the 2028 season. A lot of people are excited about that for the, I almost said it. I almost said the O word for the Athletics. And look, I think the big thing here, and we were trying to figure out the timeline. Mark Kotze, basically, the deal runs through 2028 with a club option for 2029. The A's, if they follow the 3-year plan, their first season would be, I believe their first season in Vegas would be 2028. So if they follow the 3-year plan, Mark Kotze would be the coach their first season in Vegas. If they don't follow the 3-year plan and they take that extra year, if they then give him the club option, he would only have the deal through the time in Sacramento. But at the very least, you are showing stability. You are showing, hey, we're trying to make this product as good as we can for you, Sacramento. Even if we're not whether we're using your name or not, we're doing the best we can to put this team in a better position. So I thought that was a great look for the A's. Also, you have the signings that they made with Brent Rooker and Luis Severino. I think they're going to be pretty competitive, man. And especially you have an AL West, which is super top heavy. And I don't even know how top heavy it is. The Mariners, you can't really figure out what it is they're going to be. Every year is supposed to be their year to finally get to the playoffs. You have the Astros, who a lot of people, if I were to tell a random person, and this more so goes to where the state of baseball is, but if I were to say, hey, out of these two guys, Bregman and Justin Verlander, how many of them still play on the Astros? Is it 1, 2, or 0? Most people would say at least 1. Neither of them play for the Astros anymore. So I don't really know what the Astros are going to be. My point is that the AL West and the Angels of the Angels, Mike Trout is moving to right field to try to save his body. It's been 13, 14 seasons for him. So the AL West, there's an opportunity to at least be competitive in that division. I really think that.
Oh, I agree with you in that sense. It's just we've penciled in the Astros for that division for so long that It's like muscle memory to try and correct yourself. And I'm also used to just saying the Astros are a machine. And so when they lose the Bregmans or they lose the Verlanders in the past,
somebody else.
But that's not that team anymore. It's the owner overstepping his bounds. It's a non-analytically inclined general manager. So I have to correct myself in that sense of being like, you know what? The Astros actually aren't that good going into this season, but the only thing I know for certain is that the Angels are going to be dead last.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I know.
Well, that means that's not going to be the A's. That's not going to be the A's. It really comes down to, are the Mariners going to be who they have been? They remind me of the blue, not to get too in the weeds with baseball here, but they kind of remind me of the Blue Jays, where they've been supposed to be good for about 3 years now, and just it never happened. So I don't know if it's going to happen this season or not.
If I were to give a basketball comparison, I think of them like the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
Where it's like you always think they're going to take the next step, and then you look up and it's like, oh no, wait, they're rebuilding and slashing payroll. And also Julio Rodriguez is hurt, kind of like Trae Young got hurt a couple of years ago.
So I really think there's an opportunity for the A's. Now, I know there are conversations about where those playoff games would be played, but you know what? We'll deal with that issue happily if the A's are in the playoffs. So the A's making some moves. I really think it's a good move to extend Mark Kotze and just give the city a feeling of, hey, we're going to be here and we're going to be dedicated to giving you a good product while we're here. So a couple of the signings that they've made have made me feel really excited. I think it's going to be really lively in there. You can kind of joke about the word intimate and things like that, but the bottom line is that thing is going to be packed. That thing is going to be packed. They have to put out a good product, but that thing is going to be packed. There are going to be nights where it's just electric out there. I know there are a couple businesses where you can get a beverage. They're going to really love their location. And I also think selfishly from my my gig with the River Cats, I think it will actually help the River Cats too, because not everybody is going to be able to get A's tickets, but it's just going to bring, I think there was a calendar, it's less than 10 days within a 4-month span where there will be no baseball in Sacramento. And I think that what's going to happen is, like, again, a bit selfishly, they're going to be people that really want to get to an A's game. Their kid is going to look them in the eye and they're going to say, honey, I didn't hit my quota. I didn't make enough money. We're going to go see the River Cats game, and I'm going to welcome them with open arms, and hopefully they walk away with a free T-shirt or something like that.
So you're saying just baseball is going to be more engaged
I think so.
with?
I mean, you know what? Being in the Bay this weekend, it really, I talked to a lot of colleagues and friends, and the one team thing in Sacramento, it can be tough. And I know Portland, I believe Portland definitely has a minor league team too, but I do think that entering a world, even if it's for 3 to 4 years, where you are no longer even if you're not officially getting claimed, entering a world where you are no longer a one team city is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Well, speaking of that one team that everybody's talking about out here in Sacramento, let's start to give out some grades for the first half of the Kings season when we return. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Domantas Sabonis plays here.
He finds Sabonis, put the frosting on the cake, put the cherry on the sundae. Sabonis with a two-hand clutch makes it 114-106.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions. Plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business. Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it and will beat any print quote. Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs. No problem. I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens. Totally. I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing. I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Henceforth, 5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-235-5588. That's 800-235-5588. 800-235-5588.
You've heard the saying, penny wise, pound foolish, right? It means you do something that will save you a little bit right now, just pennies, but that ends up costing you pounds in the end.
People put off tuning up their furnace because they don't want to take the time or spend the money to get it done.
But it only takes 90 minutes and costs just $87, which is just pennies compared to the huge problems and expenses that can rack up if you don't get your furnace tuned up.
You'll also save money on your energy bills, and your system will last longer.
So don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Call Bell Brothers for a precision tune-up and professional cleaning today.
Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
This 49er Injury Report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries. Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
It was 1879 when the first President's Day was established, and it's been a holiday ever since. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. I'm guessing when the Keys family opened the first Naturewood Home Furnishing store in 1948, a President's Day sale was not top of the mind. But the family probably celebrated the holiday with a picnic and a big slice of cherry pie. The store name Naturewood was selected to reflect the quality of the wood furniture for sale. And that focus on quality continues today with brands like FlexSteel, Trailway, Stickley, Fusion Designs, Stanton, and many, many more. The Naturewood Home Furnishings President's Day sale is the perfect time for you to find the right accent piece for your living room, a new bed for your bedroom, or to completely refurnish your entire home. See all the fine furniture and accessories on sale with Naturewood's President's Day sale. Find that perfect piece of furniture that's new today and filled with memories for tomorrow. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Giving out grades for the first half of the Kings season. We get the easy ones out of the way, right? Because, I mean, these numbers from Domantas Sabonis. This is from Stat Defender, okay? Now Kyle will love this because these are kind of nerdy stats, okay? But these are some numbers from Stat Defender on Domantas Sabonis, and they go a little bit deeper on everything like some of our other accounts do that we follow. Domantas Sabonis stats in the 2024-2025 regular season. First in clutch net rating among 93 players. First in most offensive rebounds among 533 players. First in most rebounds among 533 players. First in clutch field goal percentage among 162 players. First in effective field goal percentage on tight contest among 47 players. First in most second chance points among the 533. First in most double doubles among the 533. First in most screen assists among the 533. Third in field goal percentage among 114 players. Third in 3-point percentage among 214 players. Now, those are the guys that meet the minimum. So 460 for field goal attempts, 120 for 3-point attempts. They go on to ask the question, will Sabonis be on an all-NBA team at the end of the season? And if so, which team will he be on? You know, I said this yesterday after the LeBron thing, and I can feel how I feel about the LeBron thing, but also, you know, the conversation isn't whether somebody deserves it or not. It's once you get into the nitty-gritty of does he owe it to anyone to give them a spot if he can't play? We've already discussed that in the first hour. I think LeBron did try to tell the league. That's just my personal feeling. Well, with that being said, the other side of that is that I can't really speak to the Norman Powell of it, but as far as Domantas Sabonis is concerned, I mean, these numbers are just insane. And I think there is a real chance, and I'm not kidding, and there are a lot of guys like this, but I do think there is a real chance that Domantas Sabonis, I would say top 10. I won't go crazy, but I will say this. I think there is a real chance that Domantas Sabonis could go down as one of the top 10 best players in NBA history that just never gets talked about. Like when Domantas Sabonis is done and, you're going to have to fire up NBA TV and you're going to see him on a top 10 list for whatever it is. And all of the analysts are going to say, yeah, I mean, we don't talk about this guy enough and blah, 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 blah. Whatever that list is, I don't even know who else is on that list, but Domantas Sabonis will be top 10 best player in the NBA that we'll say doesn't get talked about enough or just gets forgotten, which is part of the Sacramento thing. It's part of the winning thing. You take that leap as a team after the Beam Team season, maybe things go differently. But as it's presently constructed, if they don't start to make some playoff runs, he will probably have one of the top 10 best careers in NBA history that will be forgotten, which is just a crazy statement based on what he's doing. Crazy.
Domantas Sabonis has a chance of getting into the Hall of Fame one day. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying there is a real chance that it might happen. There's a chance it might happen. I'm not going to say real chance. Basketball Reference gives it like a 10% chance right now. But you know how Lamar Jackson didn't win MVP this year, even though statistically it might have been the best season of his career?
Yeah.
This is, without question, the best season of Domantas Sabonis' career, and he's made multiple All-NBA teams. You mentioned those stats, and I'd also throw out he is the second best shooter by volume in the NBA this year at 60%. He's averaging career highs in points, career highs in rebounds, career highs in three-point field goal percentage. He's a full rebound ahead of the next closest player for most rebounds in the NBA, and he's 2 full rebounds ahead of the third place player for rebounding. So he's having maybe the best season. He's having one of the greatest rebounding seasons of the last 25 years. And he also might not make All-NBA this year.
Right.
Because Wemby and Karl Anthony Towns both just made these giant leaps from where they were last year. And Sabonis is making an incremental leap and was an All-NBA center last year. However, just the big men have all gotten really good in this league. It's the same argument for why he didn't make All-NBA the first time. It's like, why he didn't make the All-Star team. You can say that Domantas Sabonis deserves to be All-NBA because he's been one of the 15 best players in the league this year, and I agree with you. However, Wemby was not on the All-NBA team last year, and Karl Towns is not on the All-NBA team last year, and both of them are having better seasons than Domantas Sabonis. So that's the tough situation we're in right now. This is probably the best season of Sabonis' career, and he's also on the outside looking in for All-NBA right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting time in the NBA because there's so much talk, especially this weekend, the All-Star weekend, about the face of the NBA, whatever it is. I don't really know who it's going to be. Wemby, I'm pretty sure of it, but whether it's Wemby or Anthony Edwards, even though he doesn't want it to be, or Shea, there is just a lot of good basketball being played. I do wonder, though, is there an OG out there that will say that the way the game has changed has allowed these crazy numbers, like when Drew Brees was blowing stuff out of the water, and it feels like every week in the NFL there's a passing. Now the NFL has kind of regressed a little bit, but for a while it was almost like the gorilla ball era of NFL where everyone was throwing for 10,000 yards or whatever it is. Maybe that's where we're at with the NBA now because of the threes and things like that. But looking at it from the Domantas Sabonis perspective, and maybe that's part of it too, you look at Karl Anthony Towns, and that dude is a shooter. He wants to be known as the best big man shooter to ever live. I think he already thinks he is that. But I think that the problem with Sabonis, as far as how he'll be remembered, is that he's very traditional, and a lot of these dudes, but how he's traditional isn't seen as extraordinary. So you have the hybrid bigs that are the Karl Anthony Towns of the world. You have the Rudy Gobert bigs who are the defensive player of the year guys. And he's almost like a Swiss Army knife who's really good, but nothing stands out. So he just doesn't get talked about, especially when you have the better version of him is Jokic. And that's the issue too.
Which was exactly where I was going to go, which is the quote-unquote flaws in Domantas Sabonis' game, or the quote-unquote shortcomings in Domantas Sabonis' game, are only enhanced when you look at Nikola Jokic, because those two are the first, as far as I can remember, point centers in the NBA. We've had point forwards going all the way back to Magic Johnson and Scottie Pippen, but in terms of a true point center, it's such a unique phenomenon that I think only really exists in the modern NBA. And those two are the first two I can think of that are as excellent at it as they are. I know some people will bring up the Bill Waltons or even Arvydas Sabonis's going back a ways, but I think for what the modern NBA is, there's such a unique skill set, but the shortcomings of Sabonis's game are only exemplified by the fact that Jokic, as great as he is, one of the great passers in NBA history, one of the great rebounders. I'd say Sabonis is probably a better rebounder than him, but Jokic can also give you 50.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Sabonis cannot give you 50 in the NBA.
No, and at the end of the day, scoring is, it's not just about scoring. A lot of it is about scoring. So when you're comparing him to some of his other peers, all of them besides, but then that's what I'm saying. Then you have Rudy Gobert, who has Defensive Player of the Years. So he doesn't have those. He also can't give you 50 at any point in time. He's just a really, really solid player, and those are the players that get forgotten.
Yeah, and I understand being in Sacramento and being, I guess, between Indiana and Sacramento. Well, Oklahoma City to Indiana to Sacramento. He's played in some small markets, but I also feel like he is a truly excellent basketball player with a skill set that I don't think gets appreciated other than the people who are really watching it, right? Jokic, 5 years ago, the thing everyone used to say is like, yeah, he's really good, but he's not flashy. He doesn't jump off the page. And then people started watching Jokic, especially in the playoffs, and people started to realize, oh my God, he might be as good of a passer as Magic Johnson. Or, oh my goodness, he might be as good of a scorer as Larry Bird. It's crazy how when people are actually honed in on the skill sets, they tend to appreciate it more, which is probably why the handful of media people on the West Coast like Ramona Shelburne, who are pounding the fists on the table for Sabonis, are the ones who are able to watch him more regularly.
Let's give him a grade on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hey, what's up, Sacramento? It's Kyle Draper. Turn up the cleanliness at your restaurant, healthcare, or industrial business with Alsco Uniforms, the official sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew. We've got you covered with crisp uniforms, hygienically clean linens, floor mats, and, of course, mops delivered weekly. But that's not all. Alsco Uniforms also offers weekly services for first aid and restroom supplies. Discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Just go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's ALSCO.com.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Giving out grades for the Sacramento Kings starting with the easy ones, in my opinion, and Domantas Sabonis, we're going back and forth with somebody on the Sack Chat, Dat Ninja, and Dat Ninja wants to talk about Sabonis' turnovers, right? And okay, he turns the ball over, right? He has the ball a lot, I would say that, and that's just part of it. I mean, he's not a perfect player, but I responded to Dat Ninja. I said, so do you want to trade him? And he said no, right? So as we're assessing these grades, I didn't even give him a grade yet. As we're assessing these grades, look, my issue is when we're talking about holding people accountable, right? I struggle personally with, if I know your motor is great, it's really hard for me to, and it's so obvious that your motor is great, it's really hard for me to be that hard on you. So when I look at everything Domantas Sabonis is doing, from the rebounding to the scoring to the three-point shooting, his defense is getting to the point where it might be underrated. I don't really know why I want to spend that much time on his turnovers and fouls. Now, yeah, he does foul a lot, which goes to the point where he needs to be a better defender as he moves closer to underrated, because I don't think he's terrible at defense. But when there's so much being put on his plate night in, night out, and that dude in San Antonio, we had to worry about his motor and was he going to show up, it's really hard for me to sit here and spend more than 3 minutes on Domantas Sabonis' turnovers. That's how I feel about it. And with that being said, I don't know how I can not give him an A. I just don't know how I can not give him an A. It could be a 94, so it might flirt with an A-, but I'm just going to give him a 94.
Sure. I mean, I'll give him an A+ all the way across the board because he's having literally the best season of his career. And that's crazy given that last year he set the all-time NBA record for double-doubles.
Yeah.
I mean, Domantas Sabonis, obviously you mentioned the turnovers thing, and it's real. And the defense thing is also real. Jokic isn't a great defender, but Jokic is also a better defender than Domantas Sabonis. Case in point, I know it was on getting in at 4 a.m. Jokic put up literally the greatest stat line maybe in NBA history against Domantas Sabonis. And Giannis did what Giannis did against Sabonis and all the way up and down. So I get that. Also, you can make the argument the reason why his numbers are as high as they are in terms of the effective field goal percentage is that if he were more of a volume shooter, those numbers would start to go down. But that's just not his game, and it's fine that it's not his game. Coming in and arguing, yeah, he's not a top 5 player in the NBA is there's only 5 of those that exist.
That's the Kevin O'Connor argument. That has been the Kevin O'Connor argument. And when he was of Yahoo Sports, and when he was asked, this was more so right after the Beam Team season when Domantas Sabonis didn't play that well in that series, and Kevon Looney did his thing. When he was asked what should they do, he kind of mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, trading him, but he didn't really have an answer either.
Yeah.
So nobody is saying that Domantas Sabonis is Nikola Jokic, is Giannis, is Joel Embiid when he's healthy. But where do we go from that? We're also in Sacramento. Okay. So you can't just acquire these dudes. You have to maybe draft these dudes. So to me, we can talk about it, but he's in his prime. He kind of is who he is. He is improving because look at his 3-point percentage. So I just think it is what it is.
Yeah, I think this is sometimes a misconception about these rankings because I agree. I believe wholeheartedly that I agree with your point and believe wholeheartedly you cannot win an NBA championship unless you have one of the 7 best players in the league. But the 7 best players in the league is constantly changing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's changing month to month based on production and performance. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been regarded as a top 5 player in the league for 6 years now? And obviously injuries play a factor, but the Milwaukee Bucks haven't won a playoff series in 3 years. So it's not always as simple as these are the 7 best players, and if you don't have one of those, they're not there. Sometimes Sabonis plays like a top 20 player. Sometimes Sabonis plays like a top 10 player in the NBA. Night to night, those things can change. Week to week, those things can change. Jokic and SGA are running away with the MVP right now because both of them just had insane heaters of a January that pulled them away from the rest of the pack. So I think the best course of action is always to, when you have one of those guys who could be one of the top 10 players in the league, just prioritize putting them in a position to succeed, and you can go from there. I mean, that was the thing De'Aaron Fox was asking for years and years, was just put us in a position to succeed and let us show you what I can do, but also what we can do.
Want to give De'Aaron Fox a grade? I didn't think so. The 916 says defense and wins got to count for something on the grade. I hear you. And someone on the SAC chat is saying, I feel like this is local bias. He is very good player, but an A, no way. Maybe you got me here. I mean, we are in Sacramento. Is that very surprising? I mean, we're not saying, or at least I'm not saying that he is an A player in life or whatever it is. If I'm assessing the first half, night in, night out, there were two guys I never had to question whether they were going to show up. That's Domantas Sabonis and Malik Monk. And because of that, how much of the record is on Domantas Sabonis? Let me flip that on you. How much of the record would you say is on Domantas Sabonis? Because I would say that ain't on Domantas Sabonis. He's doing his job. He is not what's funny is that if you were to look at it, and everybody knows that viral picture of me with Cam Newton where it looked like I was a Boy Scout, and Cam didn't do me any favors when we took that picture at Super Bowl. But Cam, last year's Super Bowl was the whole conversation of the game changer. What is it? Not game man. He didn't use the word game manager, but the whole thing was, are you a game changer? Or maybe it was game manager, but it was game changer or game manager, something like that. Domantas Sabonis, if he were a quarterback, is probably the most elite game manager you could have. He's probably not going to win the game for you per se, and he's not going to do it night in, night out. You're not going to give him the ball at the end of the game. But from a game managing standpoint, most of the time, he will keep you in a position to where if you have a De'Aaron Fox who's engaged or somebody like that, you're going to have a shot. They just didn't have enough. And to me, when we start with Domantas Sabonis, all you should be thinking is, well, if Allen is giving Domantas Sabonis an A, then what in the world is Keegan Murray going to get? Or what in the world, it's tough because De'Aaron Fox is gone now. What are some of these other dudes going to get? Because somebody ain't pulling their weight.
Okay. First of all, I can't believe you just called Domantas Sabonis Jared Goff.
I didn't.
So rude of you.
Well, Jared Goff, he had a great season. And he had a great season.
Jared Goff's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
But
I think that's actually not a terrible he was in the MVP conversation for a half second.
Right, but if I say that, it sounds so disrespectful to Domantas Sabonis.
I'm sure it does. And they're, it's apples to pears. It's not apples to oranges.
Second of all, to the point about the defense, yes, Domantas Sabonis isn't the greatest defender in the world, but he's not a net negative on defense. I know everyone laughs when I bring up O LeBron, D LeBron, C LeBron, G LeBron, but if I gave you D LeBron ratings for 3 players, right, and they are 47, 46, and 45, you would say that those players are basically the same on defense, right? Rough, those 3 players are Nikola Jokic, Domantas Sabonis, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah. Okay, he is as good of a defender as Nikola Jokic, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be blown out of proportion to be like he'll never be an elite player without it. No, it's not that. Is he as good on offense as Nikola Jokic or Giannis Antetokounmpo? No, of course not. That's why he's Domantas Sabonis, who's fighting to get into the All-Star game. But that doesn't mean that he can't be a great player just because he's a slightly average to above average defensive player.
On the other side, this one will be fun. Let's do DeMar DeRozan. Let's give DeMar DeRozan a grade. We open up the phone lines, 916-339-1140. Allen Stiles, Sackdown Sports.
Malik Monk plays here.
Started left, goes right, steps back, launches the 3. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sackdown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings. prices.
Northwest Exteriors wants to keep you warm this winter with our $89 furnace tune-up. Trusted in Sacramento for heating and cooling systems. Book your tune-up today as part of our 30th anniversary special. Call 888-TRUST-NW or visit trustnorthwest.com.
Simply the best. Trust Northwest.
Our rivers are a part of Sacramento that we can all take pride in, but just one piece of litter can ruin the picture. Allen Stiles here from Sacktown Sports. Let's keep our community beautiful and make Sacramento litter-free. Learn how at BeRiverFriendly.net.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. SubcontractorsUnited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with the California Army National Guard. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Just like in basketball, you need the right team to win. And that's why I recommend Folsom Lake Kia. They got low payments that change the game. And you can always buy with zero down with approved credit. Shop Folsom Lake Kia and tell them DC sent you.
Is your garage door stuck in the winter blues? Well, February is the perfect time to give it some love. Jason Ross here to tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. And they're here to keep your garage door running smoothly. This February, they're spreading the love with their Sweetheart Special, $150 off a garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Now, the experts at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento provide fast, reliable service that's always on time and always done right. From squeaky hinges to full door replacements, they've got you covered. So don't let your garage door be the heartbreaker this season. Visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com for your free estimate. You can get in touch with them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, opening doors to your home and your hearts this February and all throughout the year. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
This one will be fun. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And we just handed out grades for Domantas Sabonis. First half of the season, I gave him a 94. Kyle gave him an A+. And to me, we did spend some time on it, but that was more of the easy one. The name that we're about to do, the player we're about to talk about, this one to me is going to be a little bit dicier. And as we're having the conversation now, I really don't even know where I'm going to land on this. At 50 games, we know he has the most clutch shots in NBA history. At 50 games, 21.9 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, 48.7% from the field, 34% from three-point range, 86% from the free throw line. I feel like this should be higher than that, but he does mix in some misses here or there. And a effective field goal percentage of 51%. I give you one DeMar DeRozan. Funny enough, I did rewatch the Super Bowl performance last night just because I figured it'd been a couple of days. Let me see how I'm feeling. Yeah, I mean, it was really good. It was really good. I think I started with the B. I think I'll stay at a B, but I could be convinced of a B+. Sure.
I think it was an A Super Bowl halftime show for me, but I made the point. You have to put it in its own category. It's not really like a Super Bowl halftime show.
Right.
By the way, did you see that the SNL 50 thing this weekend?
I saw some of it. It was about 3 hours long.
Dude, they basically gave Lil Wayne his halftime show that he was going to do in New Orleans. Like, he did 6 minutes, and it was like they went through his Rolodex of songs. Like, they gave him the chance to do the halftime show he didn't get to do in New Orleans.
Yeah, so I had to take another, and I'm going to get through that, but it was a long one. As far as DeMar DeRozan is concerned, I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, I mean, again, we're back to the defense conversation, but the amount of times he saved the Kings, you know what? It's hard for me to give him anything lower than a B+. It's really hard for me. I mean, I think I could go down to a B just because if we're talking relatively speaking and him getting on the right track with the flow of the team and the flow of the game, if we're not using, hey, if you told me he was just going to come in and do this and do that, hey, it's a B+ based on, or it's an A- based on what they had to go through, but literally based on what he's done, I feel like a B is more appropriate than a B+.
All right, let's start here. We'll work our way to the grade by the end of the segment or the hour, or however long it takes. This season, you would say DeMar DeRozan has been a top blank player in the NBA.
30, 35?
Okay.
Maybe 30, 35.
I'm just curious where you would land on that. When the Sacramento Kings signed DeMar DeRozan, would you argue that him being a top 30, 35 player would have been above your expectations, below your expectations, or at your expectations?
It would be at, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if he's meeting your expectations, while at the same time this version of the Kings is dramatically different than the one that he signed up for,
right?
You know, taking that all into totality, like he's kind of the closer now. He's kind of the first option on offense as things stand right now. I know it's kind of a weird setup and we've only seen 5 games, but his role has also kind of increased now, which makes it hard to evaluate where things have gone this year. I set that all up to say, I know, again, O LeBron, D LeBron, C LeBron,
yes.
A LeBron, whatever, you know,
you
people,
LeBron, me LeBron.
Yeah, the nerd stat of LeBron, which is essentially war for basketball. They put him in the same group as these players this year in terms of value. And again, we get there in different ways, but he's in the same group as Malik Monk, Christian Braun, Michael Porter Jr., Dyson Daniels, OG Anunoby, and Naz Reid. I would argue that DeMar DeRozan being the third option on the Sacramento Kings, while being, by the way, he's 49th in LeBron this year. So, you know, him being a top 50 player at the start of the season, I would have said, great, the Kings have 3 top 50 players. That gives you a great chance to compete in the Western Conference. The tough part is he's now the second best player on the Sacramento Kings.
Right.
And having a top 40 to 50 player in the NBA be your second best player then comes down to, well, how good is your first best player?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what makes it tough, is that he's now on a completely different version of the Kings than the one he originally signed up for.
Manny on the Sac Chat says he's giving DeMar B-. Ninja is giving him a C+. Yeah. You bring in the context, and it's hard for me to. I'm definitely not going C. You bring in the context, and I want to go higher. If you kind of leave out, don't go so hard on the context. I feel like you were a bit heavy on the context, Kyle. So I would say a B feels right to me. And it probably will be a B+ by the end, because unless Zach LaVine, turns this thing on and becomes the first option, or Malik Monk, if he continues as the number one option, or not even just the number one option, just the closing option, I think that it's hard to give somebody less than a B, because if he's not the closing option by the end, that means it didn't work out. So if he's still the closing option at the end of the season, that means he's done a pretty darn good job. I think that what could sink the ship in the second half, and again, I said that a lot of this was them getting to know each other more and playing together more. But the end of that Pelicans game, again, is that a Doug, and he'll get his own grade, is that a Doug Christie conversation where it's, hey, DeMar, we're going to go in a different direction from you just ISOing, or is it on DeMar to say, hey, somebody else take over here. I don't really think I got it. There was somebody who had mentioned that, look, everybody is saying that, but in the game, everyone was kind of deferring to DeMar. So to me, that's why this is not an issue I'm super worried about moving forward, because they'll know each other more. Zach gets on a heater. It might be Zach LaVine. I'm still trying to figure out what his game is. He's not necessarily an ISO dude where he's going to get somebody on the block. So I don't really know what Zach LaVine as a closer looks like. I know he played really well at the end of the Kings Bulls game. They ended up losing that game, but he was shooting the 3 ball. He was getting to the rack. I just haven't seen him enough to entertain the world where he's the closer. And I know what DeMar does. We've been watching it all season long. So I'm trying to figure out where we go with Zach LaVine. But if DeMar is the closer and they do have some success and he's still putting up, he's putting up 20. Now his volume is about to go up, I think, with no De'Aaron Fox, but he was putting up 20 with De'Aaron. So again, I don't know if that might say more about De'Aaron, or I'm not really sure who that says a lot about, because I don't know if DeMar should be putting up 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. And by the way, I also forgot DeMar DeRozan is one of 14 players in the NBA that's played 1,800 minutes this season.
Yeah, that's
also,
true. They're wearing him down, man.
Which, if I'm doing the math here, 4 of those players with 1,800 minutes are Sacramento Kings players, if we throw in De'Aaron Fox, because obviously Fox played all those games with the Kings. So the DeRozan thing is interesting because at the same time, people were also saying at the end of, I think it was the Pelicans game, like, why are we just running the same ISO dribble to his spot and shoot offense when the shots weren't going in at the end against the Pelicans? So I kind of understand you live by the mid-range, you die by the mid-range with DeMar DeRozan, although he's been shooting very well from 3 since.
No, he has, since Fox left. And the other weird thing in that game, and we're moving forward from that stupid Pelicans game, but the other weird thing was you guys are giving up 3s, right? If you're gonna lose that game, I'd rather see LaVine set some screens up top for LaVine and Monk and just chuck it. I don't want to see you giving up transition 3s and DeMar running to the block. Then on top of that, you to take a tough mid-range and then you miss. That's the type of stuff where somebody has to step in and say, guys, this doesn't make any sense.
And then I guess now is where I would bring the defense back into it, because DeMar DeRozan's defensive rating hasn't been that bad this year, but as we've articulated on the show, they kind of put him on the 5th option and hide him in the corner a lot of the times. And we've seen when he can't guard 4s, right? Whether it was Aaron Gordon or Zion Williamson, he just cannot guard 4s. It just cannot happen at this point. So now with this new iteration of the Kings with Zach LaVine, who I don't want to punish Zach LaVine for play with the Chicago Bulls, but he was a bad defender for the Chicago Bulls. And so when you take out Fox, who is a plus defender, and then you bring in LaVine, who's a minus defender, how is that going to impact how DeMar DeRozan has to play on the defensive end of the floor? Or is it going to get to a point where they say, hey, in the middle of these games, we can't have LaVine and DeRozan both on the floor against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, or we can't have them both on the floor against Jalen Williams and Chet. We gotta pick our poison somewhere, and defensive end of the floor, we gotta make some choices.
On the other side, we keep the conversation going. Let's go to, this should be an easy one, Keon Ellis when we return. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? Sunpoint Public Adjusters can help. Sunpoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now, during our President's Day sales event, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Save thousands with low APR financing and great lease rates on over 500 new Hondas at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
What sets Ashton & Price apart from other injury law firms? I'll tell you. From beginning to end, all important legal decisions are made directly between our clients and their experienced local attorney. A gate agent flying the plane, the receptionist performing surgery, not a chance. There's simply no substitute for the unique power of the direct attorney-client relationship offered by Ashton & Price. And there's never a fee until we win, and between you and me, we win a lot.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Chad, tell me what's happening for the President's Day sales event.
Right now, save thousands and thousands more in the years to come when you save up to $14,000 off MSRP on all remaining new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe plug-in hybrids.
Chad, on all remaining 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe plug-in hybrids?
Yes, all of them. And with 56 MPGE, you'll love hauling the family around in one of America's favorite SUVs. Plus, you can't miss the Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter with over 220 vehicles available and 40 starting under $20,000.
Don't miss your chance to save. Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
14,000 total net savings on all remaining new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe plug-in models after 8,500 factory rebates and 5,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include 500 first responder bonus cash for eligible members. At least 5 of this net savings. See dealer for details.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SacktownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
It's going to be crazy, man. I don't know what those tickets cost, but I would imagine Jimmy Butler. And I do think that the Kings Warriors, we'll have some Warriors people on. You know, I got connects out there. We'll have some Warriors people on closer to Friday. But I feel like the rivalry has taken a turn now because you had Mike Brown, who had his connection to the Warriors, right? So it was a little buddy there. And then you had the kind of confusing relationship with De'Aaron Fox and Steph Curry, where a lot of fans were a little torn because, De'Aaron got his own shoe. That's great. Oh, it's not just to Under Armour. It's specifically to Steph Curry's brand. I don't really want to wear Steph's, but they're not Steph's. They're De'Aaron Fox's, but they are Steph's because he's under De'Aaron Fox. So there was this kind of little brother, big brother thing where it's, we kind of don't like each other, but at the end of the day, we know that obviously De'Aaron and Steph are cool to some degree, and Mike Brown and Steve Kerr were obviously cool. That first game with Doug Christie, when you had the Steve Kerr accusing, who was it, Keon Ellis, of flopping, right? And you had Doug Christie kind of defend Keon Ellis. I feel like this rivalry is going to take a turn, I believe, for the better. Now you have Jimmy Butler, who he doesn't mess around. Both these teams are going to need every game. They really need this game because it's against each other. I think that Friday is going to be crazy. Do I feel good about it? We'll talk about it on Friday. We'll talk about it closer to the game. But spoiler alert, I don't feel great. I really don't.
Yeah.
And the Draymond thing, and we're going to win a championship. Draymond is basically a WWE wrestler at this point. He just talks, right? He said the kids shouldn't be there. The rising stars shouldn't be there because of how hard the All-Stars worked. And a lot of people said exactly what I was thinking. We're in this position because y'all didn't want to play. So it's basically, hey, we earned the right to disrespect this weekend. They didn't. So even if we're not playing and respecting the weekend, that doesn't mean that they get to come even though we're disrespecting the weekend. So he said that. He said that the Warriors are going to win the championship. So the Warriors are really feeling themselves. And Friday, it's going to be dicey. It's going to be dicey.
I've got a quick little game for you. So this is on a ticketing platform that I guess I'll say it, Game Time.
Okay, that's supposed to be the cheap one.
I guess.
I've never done it, but I see I'm probably going to get another ad because I'm talking about it. But
probably. I enjoy it, but I'm going to use them because they do all-in pricing. So, Warriors versus Kings on Friday at Golden One Center. Is it more or less expensive than the Rising Stars Challenge on Friday at Chase Center?
Just to get in the door?
Just to get in the door. Cheapest ticket.
I'm going to say it's the Rising Stars, not the G League one.
No, the Friday one, the Rising Stars.
The Friday one. Oh, man. I'm going to say more expensive.
You think it's more expensive for Warriors Kings?
Yes.
You would be incorrect.
Okay, by how much?
By $70. It was more.
Excuse me?
Get-in price for the Rising Stars game was $190. It is $120 for Warriors and Kings. Was it more or less expensive to get? Well, I told you it's $120. Do you think get-in price for the HBCU Classic in Oakland was more or less expensive?
Sure, it was a great time. Wish I was there, but it's definitely more expensive.
The HBCU Classic was?
No.
Kings Warriors?
The Kings Warriors.
You would actually be incorrect. The HBCU Classic, $129 to get in the door.
What is going on? How did anybody do? Was it a package deal? How did y'all do this?
I did not. I went to the Bay, did not go to any events, although I did get to stand behind inside the NBA, so that was cool.
Yeah. The one thing with the Thrive, and it did fill up, but the one thing with the Thrive City thing at Chase Center is that a lot of those people, they are just there to chill. They don't go to the game.
That's what we were doing.
Yeah. On
that All-Star Saturday night, I got to wave my hands in front of Shaquille O'Neal's head. It was great.
Wow. So, yeah, that game on Friday, I'm not really worried because it's just one game. I'm more so worried simply because all these games really matter, and I do think because let's be honest here, and this is how excited I am because I said I wasn't going to talk about it, and here we are. The Warriors this is the other thing. I'm not conceding the game, but I concede the fact that the Warriors definitely owe the Kings. And that is what I'm worried about. The Warriors definitely owe the Kings.
So here's the tough thing that I've been going back and forth on with this rivalry. Because the Warriors have had so much success in 6 straight Western Conference titles, or 6 and 8 years, or 5 straight, they don't, and they're kind of, the 73-9 Warriors are kind of the reason why the regular season doesn't matter in a lot of NBA fans' eyes. But if you're counting the regular season, the Kings have gotten more knocks on the Warriors than the Warriors have gotten on the Kings. Yes, the Warriors knocked them out of the playoffs in 7 games, but you have Malik Monk banking in that shot at Golden One Center last year to beat the Warriors. You've got them blowing the doors off of them earlier this year. You've got obviously the play-in, which was the last game of Steph and Draymond and Klay's entire existence. So like, it feels like the Kings are getting more punches on the Warriors than the Warriors are against them. But the Warriors have the one big one, which was the playoff series. And I know that's the one that if I make that argument against Warriors fans, they'll make that point. Well, none of that actually matters, and they'll kind of be right.
And now, just to even take it to this season, you had two teams going in different directions. If I'm not mistaken, that Warriors win when De'Aaron didn't play, that was in the midst of the winning streak. So that was in the midst of the winning streak. The second time the Kings beat the Warriors, I think it was just a random home game, and they took care of business. And somebody might not have played, but in those games, the Kings, it was before the De'Aaron Fox drama. It was right in that sweet spot where you had moved on from Mike Brown and you were feeling good about where you were at. And I guess right after that is when the De'Aaron Fox stuff came out. Now you have the Kings scrambling with a new team trying to figure it out. And the Warriors have Jimmy Butler now, and they played really well with him.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. Because that game was on, I just had the date here, January 22nd, which was, for people who may not remember, that was the game where they said anyone but Steph is going to beat us. And Steph had
there
like
was
2 points.
It was Steph. Draymond didn't play that game. And Kuminga hasn't played in a while. So it was literally, go ahead and beat us, Guy Santos.
Yeah, that's right. It was Guy Santos and Quentin Post.
Yeah.
Those were the people. And Trace Jackson Davis.
So to me, I just got a low bar on this game, but we'll get more into it throughout the rest of the week. We'll have some fun with it. Of course, Warriors week is always a fun one. 530 says, going back to the conversation with DeMar DeRozan, 530 Greg from Yuba City, you hit on one of my frustrations. They pass the ball to wide open three. They take a six steps in for a 2-pointer and still brick it. I'd rather them miss a wide open three than a wide open two. That is from Greg. Yeah, and that's really the difference between the Kings and the rest of the NBA. Let's not forget, it feels like a very long time ago when we were having conversations about how many threes the Kings were taking versus other teams. So they weren't making it at a high clip, and they also weren't taking that many. They weren't at the bottom, but definitely not at the top. You add in, and maybe this will go up, to be completely honest. And thanks for bringing us here, Greg. Maybe this number goes up with Zach LaVine, because I've seen Zach LaVine take maybe 1 or 2 mid-ranges. So you still have DeMar DeRozan, but I think the issue was you had DeMar DeRozan taking mid-ranges, and then you had De'Aaron Fox taking mid-ranges. So at this point, at least you can hopefully counterbalance your defense or lack thereof defense with threes. Now you got to make the threes, but that gives you more of an opportunity than when you weren't making threes and you were taking a bunch of twos. So maybe that's something in the second half that, again, if the ball isn't in DeMar DeRozan's hands, not to say that I don't want it in DeMar DeRozan's hands, but depends on the situation. If you can't stop CJ McCollum, and I know it doesn't go 3 for 3, but if you can't stop CJ McCollum, I don't know why we were going to an ice cold DeMar DeRozan. So I'm glad that happened when it did. The playoff push starts now in the second half. All-Star break is almost over. So hopefully they've made the group chats, they've had some conversations, and they can continue to move forward because it's going to be tough. And you have some easy games after the Warriors game on Friday, and you have to take advantage of everything. I know the Kings are used to having 18 mulligans. They've really used up just about all of them. Let's get Keon Ellis's grade on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like saddling up and chasing down.
Look at that sweet moolah!
That big old cash cow. File with TaxSlayer Simply-Free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. Simply-Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers. See TaxSlayer.com for eligibility.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that Black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
The huge President's Day sale is on at Maida Chevy, Sacramento's Silverado headquarters. Save $10,250 off MSRP after rebates on new half-ton Silverado LT after rebates with over 50 in stock. And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $10,250 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
I'm George Washington, and I approved this message. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. 5 to the Southern Mustang 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery. One of the most common questions I receive is what makes us different from other law firms. At Gingery, Hammer & Associates, we handle your case from beginning to end. Whether your case reaches a settlement, whether we need to file suit, or even take it all the way to trial, we will be with you along the entire way. And because we are committed to you and your case, we are as invested as you are in making sure you get the outcome you deserve. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Some of the texters and Sack chatters do have a point, though. I mean, we're talking about a team trying to fight their way out of the play-in. First of all, trying to fight their way into the top half of the play-in. We got to get some bad grades soon here, because as I'm looking at Keon Ellis, I don't want to sound like the easiest grader in the world. We already gave, and I say we, I'm just speaking for myself, already gave Domantas Sabonis an A and DeMar DeRozan a B.
Oh, I gave DeMar DeRozan an A-.
That's right. Looking at Keon Ellis, and you still have Malik Monk. I'm not trying to blame everything on the dude from San Antonio, but at some point, I'm going to have some bad grades here.
Damn, you really hate Jordan McLaughlin that much?
Yeah. And that dude in Chicago, at some point, they're going to have to be some bad grades here.
Damn, what did Zach Collins do to you?
And it ain't going to be Keon Ellis. You know, with Keon Ellis, what he's done, 53 games, 8.2 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists per game, shooting 44% from three, 48% from the field, 84% from the free throw line. And Basketball Reference doesn't have Ellis Island. He still doesn't have a nickname. So who do we got to talk to get Ellis Island up there under his nicknames?
You just got to go viral enough. I think they put what was the Jason Tatum one that everyone was making fun of, Mr. Whatever. They put that on there.
I don't know what it was, but best pull-up three. This is again from our friends at Stat Defender. Best pull-up three percentage for the 2024-2025 season, minimum 30 pull-up attempts. Okay, 30. Number 9 at 42%. Quentin Grimes, tied for number 9. Duncan Robinson. Number 7, Jalen Wells. Number 7 again, tied for number 7, Emmanuel Quickley. Number 6, Lonzo Ball. Number 5, we know this name well at 43%, 44%, Jose Alvarado. Number 4, Karis LeVert at 45%. Number 3, Grayson Allen at 47%. Number 2, Gary Trent Jr. at 47.5%. And at number 1 for best pull-up three-point percentage this season, minimum 30 pull-up attempts, Keon Ellis.
I really just be chilling for real.
At 53.1%. Keon Ellis, number 1 in the NBA, with only, they go on to say, with only 32 pull-up attempts, pull-up three attempts. Could Keon Ellis become a potent pull-up shooter if given more opportunities to attempt such shots? I think the answer would be yes. You know, obviously he's not going to shoot 53% when it goes down. So he's made over 16 of them, something like that. Or no, 20, with 32%? Yeah. Or 32 attempts, 16, something around there.
What was the percentage again?
53%.
So he's made 17
of them. It's crazy, man. And again, I know some bad grades have to come soon here, but how in the world am I going to give Keon Ellis anything other than an A? Based on how his usage, it has to be an A again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'm going A for Keon Ellis. What he does defensively, his usage and production may go up. And, you know, I think the hope is maybe his grade, dare I say, drops a little, because that just means he's been playing more. So I'm giving him an A, Kyle, and I'm pretty sure you're giving him an A as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we talked about the Found Money Award. I mean, those Found Money value is so important in this league because it's a salary cap sport and because the Sacramento Kings are a team that's not willing to go into the luxury tax. Mm-hmm. Value is so important, and Keon Ellis has been the most valued non-Sabonis player on the Sacramento Kings, because I would argue Sabonis is underpaid based on the production Sabonis is giving them. However, Keon Ellis, we know he's not a great offensive player, right? Obviously, the thing that Keon Ellis brings is elite defense. And by the way, going back to our LeBron, D LeBron, red fish, blue fish, Keon Ellis is 38th in the NBA in defensive rating, essentially, which is crazy given that encompasses big men who are better at, are better defenders. Keon Ellis, despite the fact that he's 6'4", is one of the 40 best defenders in all of the NBA, which is crazy. Yeah. Guards are not supposed to be that good on defense. For reference, that's better than any Marcus Smart season of his career. And Marcus Smart won a Defensive Player of the Year for some weird reason. But on offense, even though he's not a great offensive player, he's given you games this year with 33 points, 27 points, 18 twice, and 17. So, that's about as good as you can ask for a player coming off the bench who you know to not be a great offensive player. Just games here and there where he gives you giant spurts is sometimes all you can ask for given the role that he's in. So I don't know what more you could ask for Keon Ellis other than to have him be a 15-point-a-game guy off the bench.
Right. And what's difficult right now is the lack of identity with the team. So you can't necessarily sit there and say, Keon, shoot more, because Keon is always going to be out there, or most of the time he's going to be out there with either Zach LaVine or Malik Monk. Now, maybe those minutes, or DeMar DeRozan. So maybe those rotations where it's Keon and Malik Monk, he can do a little bit more. I'm not going to try to put Keon in a box yet, but it feels like he's headed towards that 3-and-D type of vibe. Obviously, we all know Derek. Whenever I watch Derek White, I mean, that whole Celtics team is just shooting threes. So Derek White, I think, is a decent comp just because Derek White is a really potent offensive player in his position. But Derek White isn't doing a ton of driving to the lane. You know, he's there, and Tatum and Brown, they bring in a lot of attention, and Derek White is the last person you want just sitting there wide open, and he's just sitting there wide open, and he does his thing. So that is how Keon, I think, will progress. I'm not trying to put him in a box. We'll see what he looks like, you know, at the end of this season and going into next season from a playmaking perspective and an offensive perspective. But I think, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that Keon Ellis needs to be an A, and you know, you probably could go A+ there, but I'm just going to go with an A, and we'll see what he grows into throughout the rest of this season, because he's going to be put in a lot of different spots where he's just got to shoot. You have to shoot the basketball, and that goes back to, you know, I know there was the weird doghouse stuff, but even, you know, Mike Brown, the one thing he did, and I think it was a texter that said that said this about Mike Brown. It always sticks out when anybody is saying anything positive at this point, that he always empowered his guys to shoot. If you are in the game, I trust you enough to shoot. And I think that Keon is going to have to get to that point, because that will also continue to open things up. Now, you still have to stop, because that's the thing. They won that game, but it was still a pretty close game. A game like that, where you have Keon doing what he did against the Pelicans, that game should not be close. So that's the other issue with it. But just keeping it on the offensive conversation, he's got to continue to shoot at a high clip. Not necessarily, hey, he's going to continue to shoot at 53% from pull-up range, but you got to pull up.
Yeah, and also I think it's going to change now, because we talked about last week the minutes going back to the Pelicans games. Mm-hmm. Keon's averaging close to 25 minutes a game since they constructed this new roster, which obviously is only 4 games, but the Kings are essentially a 6-man rotation. It's the starters and Keon Ellis, and then they mix in minutes for Valanciunas and LaRavia. But Keon Ellis is playing, I think, 8 more minutes a game than Valanciunas and 10 more minutes a game than LaRavia or Lyles. So this is the first time, I would argue, maybe in Keon Ellis's entire career, that he's about to be a consistent 20-minute-a-game player.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a better offensive player. It just means it's going to be a new set of circumstances and a new role for Keon Ellis. And every time Keon Ellis has gotten a new role over the last 3 years, he has excelled beyond expectation in that role. So one can only hope that in this new 25-minute-a-game, only guy off the bench who's playing minutes down the stretch guy,
right,
maybe that leads to higher offensive production, more opportunity for offensive production, because as it stands right now, he's a 49, 44, and 85 shooter.
From the 530 and 916-339-1140, if you want to be a part of the conversation, call line, text line, or hop on the YouTube and search Sacktown Sports 1140. 530 says, another reason you put Keon in the starting lineup for DeRozan, not just defense. Dude is an elite spot-up shooter. Once teams respect that, the floor will open up. That's from the 530. Yeah, I mean, the starting conversation, there's just been so much change. And I know I sat here and said, hey, they beat the Pelicans, that'll be 4 straight. And then you have a Warriors game who, even if you lose to that Warriors game, after that, you get the Hornets and the Jazz. So it'll be really hard to make that move. And then they go on to lose to the Pelicans. I still kind of feel that way. I just think that knowing what I believe I know about the organization and optics and how much optics matter, I really don't see DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine coming off the bench. I don't. And I think the other thing too, as far as the 5-3-0 is concerned, is you start a Keon Ellis. And I know that Aaron Gordon game, Keegan Murray didn't play. So you start Keon Ellis, Zach LaVine moves to the 3, Keegan Murray moves to the 4. It feels like a smaller team. It feels like a smaller team. Now, things should open up for you offensively because Keon can shoot. You got Malik kind of pulling the strings. Obviously, you still have Zach LaVine. But even though, Keon or DeMar DeRozan isn't the biggest dude in the world, starting Keon and then going Keegan Murray at the 4, Zach LaVine at the 3, I feel like the biggest issue is Zach LaVine at the 3. It would make you better defense. Obviously, it makes you better defensively. I'm not against it. The reason I just haven't spent a lot of time on it is just because I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think it's necessarily. Everyone just assumes that they're not doing it because it's a fit situation, or because you can't move a $40 million player to the bench. I don't actually know that starting Keon Ellis is actually going to make them better. I guess the one example I would point to, because you were talking about a player who compares to him, is with Cason Wallace on Oklahoma City, which was, again, very good defensive player, not a plus offensive player, but he also shoots the 3 like way, way worse than Keon Ellis. So it's not a perfect comparison, but Cason Wallace was kind of a super sub off the bench, giving them the defensive production that Keon is likely to play in the role now.
Right.
But then when Hartenstein and Chet went down, they slid Dort over to the 4 and put Cason Wallace at the 2 and went with the lineup that way. But then once those guys got healthy again, Cason Wallace went back to the bench. And I guess the thing I would just say is injuries are going to come up at some point.
Yeah.
And when injuries happen, the only person they can start is Keon Ellis, unless it's Sabonis, at which point Valanciunas would start. That's just going to be the reality of this team. Is just, yes, we'd love for Keon Ellis to start, but the way it's presently constructed, it's not going to happen. But also don't get sad because someone's going to get hurt and you're going to see Keon starting in those games.
We will do one more today, and then we will finish all this up tomorrow. We'll go in a couple different directions here as we make our way through the 12 o'clock hour. The last one was kind of the bench as a whole, but with one guy in particular. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs.
Picking up. Oscar! La, 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 la.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown
Yes,
Sports.
I finally.
A lot of 5-3-0s today. says 6-man award for Keon in the future. I think we could see something like that, 530. I like where your head's at. And you're not getting awards like that unless your team is winning. So that's a great call there. We're going to finish up with Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, the coaching staff, the front office. That'll be tomorrow. Okay, we are going to finish the grades for today just with the bench unit as a whole, but I feel like we've already separated Keon Ellis. We're also going to separate Trey Lyles, and besides that, the rest of the bench hasn't really been here or hasn't been playing. So I think the big one here, Kyle, is Trey Lyles. And look, I've been pretty hard on Trey Lyles. I know there's the Trey Bay conversation. Everybody loved Trey Bay after the Beam Team season.
Trey Lyles movement.
And that one time he, kind of tried to check one of the Lopez's against the Bucks. That was like 2-3 years ago. Trey
Lyles movement.
Trey Lyles, he does do a lot of the dirty work, and I want to give him credit for that. In that first game against the Pelicans with Zion, he took a charge. The other one got overturned, but he took that charge. Then 45 games, he's averaging 6.3 points, 4.4 rebounds, 1 assist, 39% from the field, 33% from 3, 74% from the free throw line. And his role is here's a nickname. It says Trey Mamba on Basketball Reference. And here's a guy who is changing. His role is changing with all of the new pieces that have come in. Valanciunas, that's another option from the bench perspective. Jake LaRavia, guys like that. You even saw Isaac Jones slide in there. And shout out Isaac Jones at the G League Rising Stars tournament. We got to see Isaac Jones. He showed out, had a couple double pump dunk and some good notes. So shout out to Isaac Jones. We saw him at the G League Rising Stars game on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, for Trey Lyles, I think it's tough because this is where, when you're looking at a team fighting to get out of the play-in, and I've given out a B and 2 A's, somebody ain't doing their job. You know what I mean? And I'm not putting all that on Trey, because I do think we have to have, and tomorrow we'll have a conversation about De'Aaron and Mike Brown and how we should grade that and have that affect the grades that we're seeing here. But Trey Lyles, the 3-pointer to me is really just has forsaken him and has not returned. Unfortunately, we hope it does return. 33% is not, it's not the worst in the world. His career, he shoots 34%, but the idea of him, I think, was essentially to improve on that and be that dude that can stretch the floor from the 5 position and also from the 4 position. And yeah, it has not come back for him. And that's been kind of a tough go. And his minutes now, like I said, you bring in Jake LaRavia. He's at 18.7 minutes a game. And you got to think that might even go down with the addition of Jake LaRavia and Valanciunas. But I think, kind of based on how things have turned out, hey, you're not going to get as much playing time. You kind of had an opportunity at 20 minutes a game to where, Monty's probably wishing it did work out because, and, he played at a higher level because it would make Monty look better. It would make them look like a full team. If you got the best version, I'm going back to Beam Team season. I think the craziest thing about the whole Beam Team season thing was it wasn't a crazy season for him per se. I mean, it was 7 points per game, and he shot 36% from 3. Last season, he actually shot higher, shot 38% from 3, and I would not have guessed that. So, maybe what it is at that time, he's 27 years old, and he's one of those examples of you kind of are who you are. Now he's 29. I think at 27, maybe they thought they would get more from him. And again, he only played 16.9 minutes per game. So I don't really know. Again, I wasn't covering the team yet. So there was, I guess, an idea. Maybe you just had to be there because from what I'm looking at, he kind of is who he is. he's never really changed. And maybe it was the idea of him taking a leap. But at 27 years old, most of the time guys don't take huge leaps. And unfortunately, he's essentially regressed in a way. Maybe that's more so the issue, but it's not, he hasn't regressed to a terrible degree. It was 7.6. If I had people guess what Trey Lyles averaged during the Beam Team season than what he averaged last season, nobody, now he played more games. He played 74 games, so maybe that's part of it. But I don't think a lot of people would say he averaged 7 points in both seasons.
No, and I think...
Which he did.
Yeah, he did. I wouldn't have thought that at all. And I remember after the Beam Team season, the thing that he talked about was this was the first place in his career where he really, or I guess going back to Utah, but like the first time he felt like he really had a role and was a part of a team that was actually like going in a direction somewhere. Like it was very interesting because I just looked it up. He had only played 14 minutes of playoff basketball in his entire career prior to landing in Sacramento. And he landed in some tough places. Like he landed in Denver in the early Michael Malone days. I think his last season in Denver was that first year that the Nuggets were the number 1 seed and he wasn't really getting any run.
Right.
He was in Detroit. Utah was a good team, but when he got to Utah, it just wasn't it. And then he ended up in Sacramento just kind of as a lump, kind of like when you're going out of the league and it's like, we're just going to package these guys and we're going to waive 2 of them and maybe they'll land on a team, maybe they won't. And so for a guy who was headed out of the league to land in Sacramento and be now the second longest tenured Sacramento King was certainly not what we expected or what Trey Lyles expected. So I look at everything that he's done in Sacramento as found money of sorts.
That's fair. It changed though.
Yes.
And I think last season, coming off of the Beam Team season, it was, okay, now we're all going to take this leap together. And the team, and it's not just a Trey Lyles thing. Nobody did. I mean, Kevin Huerter was a much bigger regression and Keegan Murray. So Trey Lyles, and again, I've said I'm pretty tough on him, and I honestly feel like I am based on how much y'all, the collective y'all, do love him. But Trey Lyles was not the worst, was not really the issue last season. He is who he is. He actually shot better from 3-ball. He was injured, and maybe that is more of the conversation. He played 74 games Beam Team season. He played 58 last season. So maybe that's the biggest issue.
And remember, he was injured coming back to start this season, which ruined
was
some of it, as Malik Monk so eloquently told us.
He lost a lot of pounds. He was fat.
There you go. Thank you, Malik.
He lost a lot of pounds. He was fat.
So,
I give it a B.
I can't go B.
Well, yeah, but I've given out all A's. So
Yeah.
this is like me giving someone a C because I just have everyone's grade being higher at this point. And I will say this. I want Trey Lyles back next season.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's done enough to be, and obviously his contract is prohibitive and blah, blah, blah. I just want Trey Lyles on the Sacramento Kings next year. Maybe he's not going to be the 7th man coming off the bench like he was at the end of the De'Aaron Fox era, but I would like him to be on the team in some way, shape, or form, even if it's only 5 minutes a game or 8 minutes a game, behind Valanciunas and maybe LaRavia, or maybe they sign another wing in free agency. I just would like to have Trey Lyles come back next season.
Yeah, I can't. I have to go C for Trey Lyles. Somebody's got it. Somebody has to kind of get some hard grades here because they're fighting to stay in the play-in, or to stay in and to get out of the play-in. So Trey Lyles is a C, solid C, but I gotta go 75 for Trey Lyles. But I would also say this, a C that with him almost not out of position, but out of in the wrong rotation piece. Like to your point, now that we know that this is who he is, Trey Lyles as a 6'7", I wouldn't say 8, but a 6'7" guy, yeah, he's been a C. Next season, if he's 8 or 9, I think he could be a B again. I think we have found out now, we have enough information to know that Trey Lyles is probably better as an 8 or 9 guy than a 6 or 7 guy. It just took, I think, to the point of people getting on Monty McNair, it took you too long to figure that out.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize this until just now. This is Trey Lyles' 10th year in the NBA.
Yeah.
He has made it 10 years in the league, despite the fact that he famously was traded from Utah to Denver for Donovan Mitchell. And look at how his career has gone ever since then. I feel good because Trey Lyles has been a Sacramento Kings player over the last 3 years. And again, obviously contract negotiations are what they are. I just would like to have him come back next year, even if he's going to average a career low in minutes per game.
Kenny the Jet sat down and talked to some Sacramento Kings with NBC Sports. Does he think that Doug Christie should have the interim tag taken off or not? Well, he tells you straight up, and we'll tell you on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Curran in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We are expecting increasing clouds throughout the day today. Winds will be out of the northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, and afternoon highs today expected to top out in the mid-60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA app.
Coach Christie here with the winning play for you. Shop Folsom Lake Kia right now for low payments and zero down deals with approved credit. Go see my friends and upgrade your ride today, or shop FolsomLakeKia.com.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Everyone has a past, but what happens if you've made mistakes and made good on that past, but it keeps following you? Are you looking for an attorney to erase past records and restore your rights? Maybe even restore your gun rights? Do you need a reputable criminal defense attorney who knows even good people make bad mistakes? Well, the attorneys at Gonzalez Law Office are here to help. Find Gonzalez Law Office online at saclegaldefense.com or call them at 916-304-9187. We don't settle for less, and neither should you.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with the California Army National Guard. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shampoo. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
There is one game tomorrow, by the way. So if you're fiending, all you got to do is get through today. And funny enough, Kyle, the game is between two would-be partners, trade partners, that did not end up being trade partners. I don't know where this thing is going to end, but it's Hornets at Lakers tomorrow.
I think this is a makeup from the wildfire cancellation is probably why they're playing that game. But apparently Luka was impressed by the fact they tried to make such a swift move, according to Mark Stein. So I don't know.
And LeBron was annoyed.
If people are looking for basketball tonight, that unrivaled 3-on-3 league has got 2 games tonight.
There you go. So yeah, I saw some people, some betting accounts. They were finding some crazy stuff, but you know we're almost there.
Our girl Chelsea Gray plays at 5:30 TNT.
There you go. It's out there. I almost said it. Prop talk is what I meant to say. I almost said prize, but prop talk, yes. Until we're official partners, I will not be saying anyone's actual name. And I can't say this name, though. Kenny the Jet sat down with my guys, and they talked about a lot of things, so don't think that, you know, Sacramentans or the Sacramento media didn't get the call. They talked about more than just the Kings, but he sat down with NBC Sports California, Monty Poole, and my guy Bonte Hill, and did an exclusive interview where they talked about a ton of different NBA things, specifically the Warriors and the Kings. So this is what Kenny had to say when he was asked about Doug Christie and what Doug Christie has done. Here's the quote. Doug's doing great, Smith told NBC Sports California, Monty Poole and Bonnie Hill. You know, he was handed something in the middle of season. You're trying to implement things that you might have seen. And as an assistant coach, some of the things you probably agreed with already with Brown because he was on his staff. So you can't say you didn't agree with some of the things, but then you're trying to piecemeal the things that didn't work. It's different when you're 2 chairs over, right? Because the relationship between assistant coach and a player is way different. The assistant coach, players sell everything. They talk about the head coach. You're one of the guys. You move 2 seats over. You are not one of the guys. You don't get any of the privy information. You don't know where they're going after the game. You don't know the family members, nobody. The kids don't talk to you. So he's got a different job, and he's doing great. Mike was coach of the year a couple of years ago, but I feel excited for Doug to move 2 seats over. I think he's worthy of it. I think he's doing a heck of a job. They should take the interim tag off. He knows the players, and he's doing a good job. That was from Kenny the Jet, TNT. And I think Kenny was pretty spot on with everything. I loved how he highlighted kind of the differences, and we've kind of talked about it before, just assumptions, but we've talked about it before, just from the assistant coaches kind of being the cool uncle or the cool substitute teacher, right? And if you played in high school, whatever it is, you know, whenever I had questions about playing time or anything like that, I wouldn't go to the head coach. Or had a problem, I would go to the assistant coach or one of the assistant coaches. That was my boy. You know what I mean? So I know exactly what Kenny is referring to. I'm sure a lot of you do, and how that is also something that Doug is working through the relationships. Now, everything can be unique to you, and he doesn't have to he doesn't have to abandon everything that he does because he's the head coach now. But I do imagine there is a level of, well, okay, and I don't know if appropriate is the right word, but you can't show favoritism in a way that maybe you could get away with. And I know he's got the relationship with Domantas Sabonis. Does that relationship change a bit because he's the head coach now? You know what I mean? He's in charge of a lot more than he previously was. So I think he's doing a great job. I agree with Kenny. The interim tag should be removed kind of regardless of what happens. I mean, if this thing gets completely ugly and I don't know, a crazy world where two more guys ask out and it's just a complete disaster, then maybe. But I really don't think that these next couple months here, whether they make the playoffs or not, it should define Doug Christie. And I believe that he should get a whole training camp with a team that he knows, with a staff that doesn't have any lingering drama because of his bosses, right? And what has been leaked, just a fresh start. And you give him that opportunity to see what he can do with a team where he is, has had them for a couple months here when it comes to Zach LaVine and others, but an even longer period of time for Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, and DeMar DeRozan. So I completely agree with Kenny as far as what should happen with Doug Christie, but I did find it interesting and it reminded me of, when we were all playing sports. Oh yeah, you definitely look at the assistant coach differently than you look at the head coach as far as your relationships and what you're willing to tell them and not willing to tell them.
Yeah, I appreciate that Kenny was willing to give even though he's not boots on the ground here in Sacramento and like following closely what's happening with Doug Christie and the Kings, he's mostly looking at the record. I appreciated that he was willing to give context to like what the difference is between being the fourth guy on the bench and being the first guy on the bench. And obviously Doug has that relationship with a number of the players who had been on the Beam team together. Obviously, he was flying to Lithuania during the summers to work out with Sabonis. So there's that personal relationship. But for the new players, your Zach LaVines, your Jonas Valanciunas, your Jake LaRavias, they only know him as head coach Doug Christie.
Right.
And so now it's a different group that is coming together with Doug as the solidified head coach. So I appreciated that Kenny was giving that context there. And it's interesting because every time we talk about the Doug Christie head coaching conversation, it doesn't necessarily revolve around the ins and outs of what he's actually doing on a day-to-day basis. It's just, hey, they're winning games and ownership really likes him, so he'll probably be the head coach going forward.
Right.
And this is actually more of a nuanced, like, well, what is he actually doing as head coach, and how does his role look different than what it was before?
I do think that, hey, people are who they are, and I do think that next season will be really important for him. I don't think that he's going to sit here. I'd be very surprised, and we went back and forth with what the extension would look like. I don't think for 1 second that they're just going to say, hey, you've done enough. They'd have, if they go to the second round or something this season, then sure. But I don't think we're going to see anything more than a 3-year deal. I just don't think that's how they operate.
Well, I think 2026, I'm saying like the proverbial next season is the make or break year for everyone,
right?
Because like we've mentioned, DeRozan leaves after that season. Keon Ellis is an unrestricted free agent. Keegan's on a new contract. LaVine can theoretically opt out of a deal. Monty McNair's extension expires. So like by 2026, they're going to have to pivot the direction of the franchise one way or another. It's just, is Doug going to be the guy going forward? And will they have won enough to be like, we want to reinvest in this team and we want to we want to do everything we can to bring this group back and see if they can build upon it and all that stuff. It's going to be, next year is the big season. And at this stage of the game, I mean, it's already, the timelines are already so off between who's going to be the GM and who's going to be the coach and who the players are going to be, because the roster's pretty much locked in, that it's like, I feel like they're just better off just going with this group for a season and then figuring out what they do after that.
916-339-1140. Is there anybody out there that doesn't know that they would move forward with Doug Christie? Is this 100%? We all agree that Doug Christie should be the coach next season no matter what. There's got to be somebody out there that has a random name, or maybe there's not, because he's winning games and he's Sacramento's finest. On the other side, a couple, I know, didn't think we'd be talking about trades right after the deadline, but a couple names have popped up. Maybe not as surprising as you think. And we also have a fun either-or game that we want to play with you. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Is your garage door stuck in the winter blues? Well, February is the perfect time to give it some love. Jason Ross here to tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. And they're here to keep your garage door running smoothly. This February, they're spreading the love with their Sweetheart Special, $150 off a garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Now, the experts at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento provide fast, reliable service that's always on time and always done right. From squeaky hinges to full door replacements, they've got you covered. So don't let your garage door be the heartbreaker this season. Visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com for your free estimate. You can get in touch with them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, opening doors to your home and your hearts this February and all throughout the year. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Need a little home makeover to get through the last few weeks of winter? Kohl's is having a big sale so you can give your home a reset. Plus, Kohl's Rewards members save an extra 15% on so much to refresh your space, like stylish decor, cozy pillows, convenient storage, and so much more. So hurry to Kohl's to snag your savings before the secret's out. Select styles. Kohl's Rewards 15% off coupon valid through March 2nd. Must be a Kohl's Rewards member. Exclusions apply. Visit a store or Kohl's.com for details.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. Look, man, nobody is safe these days. Nobody is safe these days, okay? Including guys that could have been the face of the league. Howard Beck, who covers the NBA, been covering the NBA for a very long time. Howard Beck had this to say, and we're back. Here's the quote. I'm constantly checking in with executives around trade deadline about like, okay, what we saw, what we didn't see, what's next. And in this league, you're always on the lookout for who's the next wave of stars that are going to get dealt, right? Somebody out of the blue said, keep an eye on Ja Morant this summer. I'm just saying it's one of those things. It's just kind of keeping an eye on if they were to flame out early. That is from Howard Beck. Look, I think the Grizzlies are in a really, really peculiar spot because they're pretty much just as good with Ja as they are without Ja. And a part of that is also because that Ja can't stay on the floor for one way or another. So I think the Grizzlies would still need to replace because I think the Grizzlies without Ja, funny enough, they turn into the Houston Rockets in a way because you don't have a closer, even though Ja is in a weird because most closers can shoot and Ja can't shoot. He can get to the rack, but Ja Morant and what he's been doing in this season, he's been out with injury. I'm not saying it would be Desmond Bane's team, right? When I watch Desmond Bane, he does not look like a number one to me. He's still young, but he doesn't look like a number one to me. So I don't know what the Grizzlies are going to do. For some reason, the big boys never want to go to Memphis, right? Jimmy Butler said no, and a couple other guys said no. But yeah, the Ja Morant thing, obviously, he's another one. His trade value, it's higher than De'Aaron Fox's because he's a couple years younger, but it might be closer than you think simply because the brother can't stay on the floor and he also can't shoot. So I don't know. It might be a star for a star where it's Grizzlies decide to accelerate their process. They get a guy, get a Devin Booker type, something like that.
That would be a big trade if they were able to get that. I was thinking they were going to go for a player not as good as Ja Morant, but would give them more flexibility potentially. But
yeah,
if they got Devin Booker, I would make that trade, no question. I will say the one difference between the Fox and Ja Morant situation is that for the rest of the league, you were essentially trading for 1 year of De'Aaron Fox, right? Maybe a second playoff run because of the contract. If Ja Morant got traded this offseason, you've got 3 full seasons of Ja Morant making $39 million, $42 million, and $44.5 million. That is a pretty good setup. That's less than 25% of your salary cap for all 3 seasons. Like, as weird as it is, he's kind of on a really good contract right now.
If he can play, if he can stay on the floor.
But if you're like Miami, you take that risk, right?
Oh, yeah. I think you have to. I think you have. Now, the thing about Miami, they just still have nobody. Well, I guess Tyler Hero's their shooter.
And Bam is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, a Ja Morant, Tyler Hero, Bam, big 3, I feel like could, I don't know, be a top 4 team in the East.
Yeah. To be completely honest with you, the Ja Morant, in my mind, it's still Ja Morant from a couple years ago. I really just haven't gotten to see him play that much from injury and things like that. So I don't know what Tyler Hero, Bam, and Ja do. I think they're interesting, right? But let's say the Magic essentially said, they didn't say we don't want De'Aaron Fox, but they thought, we kind of we have ball handlers. So the Magic probably wouldn't be interested in Ja.
I would love to see it if they did make that call. Could you imagine Ja, Paolo, and Franz Wagner together? Oh my God, that would be fun.
Yeah. So I think that is something, obviously, just like Howard Beck said, something to keep an eye on.
But it's also got to be a deal that's just right for Memphis, right? Because Memphis isn't just going to give away a star with 3 years left on his contract, even if he weirdly doesn't, not that he doesn't fit. It's just, the timeline is completely changed for them because they hit on so many draft picks. Like Zach Edey and Jalen Wells kind of speed up the timeline a little bit for Memphis.
Would there be a crazy, I mean, if we're going to do it, we are the flagship. If we're going to do it, I mean, who on the Kings would entice? Is there anyone on the Kings that could do what the Grizzlies feel like they would need to get them over the hump?
Do the Grizzlies like DeMar DeRozan? I don't think I think if De'Aaron Fox had been on the Sacramento Kings and they waited until the offseason and got the commitment from De'Aaron that he would re-sign with the Grizzlies, I think that would have been a perfect swap right there.
Yeah.
But obviously
I don't think DeMar is enough. I mean, is this a crazy world? Is this a crazy world? And I'm not even saying I would do this, right? But would a crazy world be, are the Grizzlies better if they trade? And would the Kings do this to get the name DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk for Ja Morant?
I don't think the Grizzlies are better for making that trade because then the Grizzlies don't have a point guard.
They're not closer. I don't think they're closer.
This is the thing that's kind of tough about it is like, what is the trade out there that is going to make the Grizzlies better? I assume it's for a player better than Ja Morant, but I'm looking at, because the Grizzlies made a lot of switch ups at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. So they're now still the same group of Jalen Wells, Zach Edey, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, Ja Morant. Off the bench, they got Aldama, Brandon Clark, Luke Kennard, and Gigi Jackson. And I'm just looking at it like, they've got bench depth,
right?
And they've got starters in the lineup. I don't know who the player is that they could get that you could plug and play and make them better.
And it's a little different, but I think the Grizzlies are almost a cautionary tale to the Rockets. I don't really know what the Grizzlies did wrong, but I do think they're almost a cautionary tale to the Rockets of, hey, you're early for like a year, and then you're late.
But the Grizzlies have done everything right since it blew up, right?
Right. No, I'm not saying they didn't. I don't know what the cautionary tale is to not do, but it didn't work.
The Grizzlies' only problem is that Ja Morant is not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Right.
Like, they thought Ja Morant was going to be that guy.
Yeah.
And he hasn't gotten there yet. And, oh, by the way, now he's got shoulder injuries and now he's got knee injuries, which are the two things you cannot have with the player of that athletic style of play. Mm-hmm. So I just look at it for them like, they can't trade Ja Morant for nothing because then or for future capital because then your best player is Jaren Jackson Jr. and you can't win a championship with Jaren Jackson Jr. as your best player. So I just don't know the player. Who's the player? Devin Booker would be really interesting. If that became a thing this offseason, that would be super interesting. Even Kevin Durant would be super interesting on this team.
That name has come up before. Real quick, I saw this on social media, and Kyle, I've had this in the chamber for a while and we never got around to it. And you know what? All-Star weekend, and while we wait for these games to get back, this is the time to do it. The Score, they tweeted this a couple weeks ago. What's more impressive? And we want to hear from you, 916-339-1140, call line, text line. What's more impressive? A 7'3" guy that can shoot threes, and the picture is of Wembanyama, or a 5'3" guy that played in the NBA for 14 seasons. So it's kind of open-ended, but the picture is Muggsy Bogues. We can wait till the other side to answer, but this is the easiest question I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a very easy question.
Because I guess I might spoil your answer, but being 7'3" and shooting threes is not an impressive thing. You should be a good shooter if you're 7'3" because nobody can contest you.
Yeah.
So you should be a good shooter if you practice enough.
Yeah. So does anybody have an argument for Wemby? Because I don't really see what that argument. It
doesn't even have to be Wemby. It could be Porzingis.
Yeah, it could be anybody. Anybody have an argument for Wemby? Also, we predict the Western Conference standings and what they will be at the end of the season. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
Talking Kings, a little bit of NBA as we wait for the second half of the season to start back up. It does start tomorrow, though. Hornets at Lakers, Dalton Connect's team he was going to go to. Then it fell through. So I would do prop talk, maybe Dalton Connect, or we go under. He might be in his feelings. Who knows? I would stay away. I would stay away from that one.
I would say Mark Williams' revenge game, but I just assume he's not playing.
I'm just going to guess he's not playing that game. We played a game before the break as there was a question posed, more impressive, essentially, because I think what they're trying to ask here is let's change it a bit. Not a 7'3" guy that can shoot threes. What's more impressive? What Wemby is able to do at his size, or what Muggsy Bogues did for 14 seasons in the NBA? My answer is still the same, but I think the way they wrote it made it a little, because like you said, Kyle, you're bringing up just random 7-footers that can shoot threes. No, let's say what Wemby is doing, his alienness versus Muggsy Bogues and his ability to be in the league at a high level. I mean, All-Stars, I mean, he's in Space Jam. He was a brand, part of that was because of his size, but 14 seasons in the league. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Dwayne. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Dwayne? What you got for us?
Hey, what's up, though, Allen? So to answer that, it's Wemby for sure. Because give that dude a couple years. Wait till he gets his grown man strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be different. But I really want to talk about the Kings, man. It seems like a blah feeling out there today. It's all on Monty. He never did go out and get the wings. He never did go out and get athletic or none of the stuff we talked about for months. He didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then wound up trading away the quickest guy in the NBA, the quickest guy in both ends of the court. So this is where we are now. The only answer I have is maybe take Keon and bring him off, not Keon, but Keegan, and take him off the bench and let him get shots. Just bring him in and give him the ball and let him shoot. That guy, that sixth man who shoots every time. I think that might be exciting, but that's all I got on that. And then I hate to say this to you guys, but at this point, I got the Lakers coming out of the West. So let me know what you think, fellas.
Thanks for the call, Dwayne. I can't believe Dwayne had Wemby. Can't believe he had Wemby. A lot of people in the Sack chat are saying it's Muggsy. But if you got Wemby, yeah, I'm curious. Dwayne said, obviously, what he's going to be. Like I said, once he's full alien, maybe we'll have a different answer. I'm not doing the just shoot threes thing. When he goes full alien, what do we think will be more impressive? You're not going to. You could argue that you will see another Wemby, right? Maybe not as good as Wemby, but Wemby adjacent. You're not seeing another Muggsy Bogues ever again, ever.
Okay, can I flip up the question on you? Also, Dwayne, if you're listening right now, to his point about the Lakers, Brian Windhorst had a great quote last week about how the algorithm was saying the Lakers now have the second best chance to win the West, and he said the algorithm doesn't have to guard Jokic.
Yeah.
The Lakers still have to guard Jokic, and I don't think that's going to go very good for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, to the second point, what if I flipped up the question on you? What is more impressive? Muggsy Bogues at 5'3" having a 14-year NBA career, or Kevin Durant at 7'1" being one of the greatest scorers in NBA history?
It's still Muggsy Bogues.
Okay, I just wanted to see, because making it Wemby is like, oh wow, how crazy. Yeah, he's 7'4". He can do. He's already the best defensive player in the NBA, and it's not even close. If I make it Kevin Durant being able to score like Michael Jordan while being 7'1", I find that to be more impressive than even what Wemby is doing at 7'4". What Wemby's doing is amazing, but Kevin Durant is that example of like he kind of likes to say he's 6'10", but that is a 7'1" guy who is one of the greatest shooters in the history of the sport. That I find to be almost as impressive as anything else you're going to find. But yeah, Muggsy Bogues being in the NBA for 14 years is great. You're also like, part of his brand was that he was short. He played for the Charlotte Hornets. Of course his brand was being short.
Yeah, and I'm looking here. He played 14 years, okay? He averaged 7 points per game, averaged 7 assists per game, averaged 1.5 steals per game. But if you go to, like, he never... The accolades there aren't a ton of accolades. He represented Team USA. He did. And then he was
at the Olympics?
I don't know if it was, I'm looking here through what he did. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not sitting here saying, he had these crazy accolades, but I don't think anything of that matters. Yeah, I mean, to that point, if he has the same career and he's not 5'3", nobody's really talking about him, but that's the whole point.
He won the FIBA World Championship, not the Olympics.
With the U.S.?
Yes, with Team USA. This was back when he was in college, and only college kids were allowed to play for Team USA.
Because then in '86, he was with Spain. So, yeah, it was a great career. He's not in Space Jam if he's not 5'3". How about that? Because
No.
all the other players in Space Jam were studs.
Well, they were famous people.
Exactly. But Muggsy was famous.
Because he was short.
Yeah.
I love how you were just trying to make it like, well, obviously he was a great basketball player, but his brand was made on being short. No, the entire brand was being the short basketball player.
No, but he played 14 years.
Yeah, but he played for the Hornets. When have we ever said the Hornets are so marketable?
They were. I mean,
they were marketable because they had a 5'3" guy.
In the 90s, no, but look, I've seen him steal. I've seen him make some steals, okay?
Yeah, you just kind of were reading off the stats. 1.5 steals a game in that era is nothing to sneeze at. That is really good.
Well, if we're already here, which we have to leave here soon, but if we're already here, would you make the argument, and I'm looking him up now just to confirm, would you make the argument that Spud Webb was at 5'6", 5'7", winning the slam dunk contest in 1986? I'm trying to see how many years he played. Yeah, Spud Webb played for a long time too. Could you argue that Spud Webb's career was more impressive than Muggsy Bogues? He played 12 and he won the slam dunk contest.
I'd have to do a deeper dive on that because Spud Webb played a lot of years for Sacramento.
That's right. I need that jersey.
Yeah, they're out there. I've seen them before, but I'd have to do a deeper dive on that to figure out. Because the other thing with Muggsy Bogues is like Charlotte made the playoffs like twice in his entire NBA career. Spud Webb was playing for the Hawks, who made the playoffs a couple times. But like, if one of them were a starting point guard on like an NBA champion level team, I would look at that. I would look upon that person's career more favorably. But just hearing it at first, I'd be like, I don't know, maybe.
The 209 says players of Wemby's size don't typically have the longevity. I think of Yao Ming and others. That's a good call, but we don't know how long Wemby's going to play, which again is, you could honestly, right now, Kevin Durant might be the better comparison than Wemby because we don't know what Wemby is going to be.
Which is why I still say, like, what is the most impressive thing that's ever happened on a basketball court to that person's point? And mine is LeBron James being the size of an NFL linebacker and somehow never ever getting hurt for like 18 years is absolutely, obviously now he's succumbed to aging and the wear on his body. Basically played 2 decades in the NBA and never got hurt.
Yeah. So thanks for having some fun with this as we are getting back into some Kings action, predicting the Western Conference standings. And this leads us right to where Dwayne was going, predicting the Western Conference standings at the end of the season. Well, number one, I think we can fill that one out pretty easily, Kyle. That's going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we have to say what exactly they are right now, right? And where they will be. The Thunder are number one now. They're
44-10, and I believe 8 games.
Yeah. 8 games ahead of the Grizzlies. It gets messy after that, though. So Thunder number 1. Number 2, I would go Nuggets.
That's my pick.
Yeah, the Nuggets.
I think the Nuggets have won 14 of their last 18 too. So not only are the Nuggets the 3 right now, but they're very hot.
They've won 8 in a row. They're 8-2 their last 10. After that, I'm gonna go crazy here, man. I know what you're thinking, but it's Luka. I got the Lakers as the 3 seed. I think the Lakers come in and they figure it out pretty quickly. They got Alex Len now, so they got a stud at the center position.
Alex Len, so that means they're going to run off a 10-game win streak now, right?
No Alex Len. I think the Lakers, look, LeBron is going to get in that mode where they're 8-2 their last 10. Luka is playing his way back. I got the Lakers, and I just more so don't trust the Rockets. And if anything, I could see the Lakers maybe being stuck at the 4 seed, but I think the Rockets are going to keep slipping.
I would go Memphis at 3. That's my pick.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, that's what I'm saying. If the Lakers don't get 3, it's not because of the Rockets. It's going to be because of the Grizzlies being able to hang on. But I'm going to go spicy here. I'm going to go Lakers as a 3 seed.
So at 4, you have
Grizzlies.
Okay, so you and I just have those two flipped.
Yeah. 4, I have Grizzlies.
5,
Rockets.
Oh no, I thought we were on the same page. All roads lead to the Clippers being the 5 seed.
No, I don't think.
Just don't fall for it. All roads lead to the Clippers being the 5 seed every year.
I don't know. They look weird. I think they might drop all the way down to the 6 seed. So the Clippers would be in that 6 seed. And then this is where it gets really interesting.
I'm going to put the Rockets at 6 for me. I'm going to go Clippers 5, Rockets 6.
Okay.
Which would lead to Clippers-Lakers round 1. Ooh.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. The 7, I honestly, I feel like the Mavericks might be able to move up to 7. And past that, I know I'm supposed to say the Kings at 8.
Wait, so you have the Mavericks being 7?
I have the Mavericks at 7.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to stick with the Timberwolves at 7.
Yeah, I have the Mavericks at 7. Just for the vibes, I'll put the Kings at 8. That means the Timberwolves will be the 9.
Warriors 10, really?
I know none of it. Honestly, is the Kings that are the Kings are the problem here.
Yeah, I think the Kings are going to be either 9 or 10.
Yeah, the Kings are the problem here. I think the Mavericks, they found something. I don't know what, and they're going to get AD back at some point. It's either good. I don't think the Suns are going to do much. If the Warriors get to 8, yeah. If the Warriors, realistically, I think the Warriors, they could get to 8, and then you have the Kings fighting in that 9-10 again, but I just don't want to live in that world, Kyle.
I get it. I would go, if I'm ranking them, I think we both agree the Suns are not going to bounce back from this.
Yeah.
So if the Suns are out, the Spurs are out, I would go Timberwolves, Warriors, and then you can flip Mavericks or Kings either way, but that's the 9-10 is going to be Mavericks and Kings in some way, shape, or form.
On the other side, where did we get it right? Where did we get it wrong? What's realistically the highest that you believe the Kings can get to? I don't want any purple lenses here. Okay, 916-339-1140. What's the highest you truly think the Kings can get to? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief. The best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Your expectations for your Sacramento Kings. What's the best, realistically, the best you think it can get with the Sacramento Kings. I don't even know, Kyle. I mean, I don't want the Kings to be the 9 or 10 seed, but I mean, the problem is if you think that the Warriors have figured it out a bit, and look, this is what they do. There is such thing as a coach bump. There is such thing as a trade bump. And right now the Warriors probably the last team that wanted this All-Star break. I mean, they needed the break because they're old, but they also were rolling a little bit.
I don't know if this has always been the case, but so many Steph Curry signs all over the city. So much.
Oh, I mean, he runs that city.
Yeah, it made me realize no matter how bad it gets for the Warriors, that man is never leaving.
No.
He's going to Kobe that thing. That man is never leaving San Francisco.
I wouldn't. So at 28 and 27, and we can kind of do a little, I don't want to say cheating, but we can use some help here, Kyle. And obviously off the top of my head, when we looked up the strength of schedules, to be honest, the Warriors were in a pretty good spot. So I'm looking it up here as you have the Warriors are 22nd in toughest schedule and the Sacramento Kings. This weirdly says that the Kings are second in toughest schedule.
Yeah, but they're like tied with a bunch of people at the top.
Right. So you got, Denver and Memphis and all these teams behind them.
It's getting messed up because they have to play OKC, Cleveland, and Boston 4 times. And if you play any of those teams, it just messes up the numbers.
Right. So the Mavericks and, where they sit, they're at 20. Okay. The Suns have it worse than the Kings, but you have the Mavericks where they're at, and then you have Minnesota at 26. So all the teams that are close to the Kings in that plan have much easier schedules than them moving forward as far as strength of schedule. So I think the ceiling for the Kings is 7. Do I think they'll finish 7? I don't know. So many things have to go right. And we knew, and this is what we were saying. Get your jokes off now. And the Warriors weren't going to stand pat. I thought the Suns were going to do something. They didn't. I didn't think the Mavericks were going to do something, but I thought Luka was coming back. That was the argument there. He's not coming back, but they'll have Anthony Davis at some point. The one team that I truly don't know what to do with, whether they're going to drop or maintain in that play-in group, are the Timberwolves. I have no clue what the Timberwolves are going to do.
I feel like I have no idea what the Mavericks are going to do because this is just such a bad vibes, weird situation going on in Dallas right now. Like, if Dallas goes on a 10-game winning streak and jumps into the 5 seed, people are still going to be chanting Fire Nico at the stadium. There's literally nothing they can do to stop fans from protesting at their games. It's such a weird situation.
But you heard them in that game where they almost beat the Kings. That place was still rocking. Kyrie, I mean, I know he was an all-star, but as a kind of a Kyrie hater, I think Kyrie has really, really played extraordinary in this season and being a number one option basically the whole season, which he hasn't been in a while. So that's what scares me. It's almost so bad for the Mavericks that they just are playing with nothing to lose. That's what scares me. Even though once AD gets back, the whole reason you made the move was because you thought you'd be a championship contender. So I don't know. The Mavericks, I don't like teams that either have really good vibes or so obviously bad vibes.
It's us against the world vibes.
That's why the Timberwolves, to me, to be honest, if I want to find a way to sneak the Kings into that 7-8 seed, I really should just drop the Timberwolves because they're the ones where it's, what are you actually doing?
Yeah, but the tough thing is that it's still minus Karl Anthony Towns. It's the same pieces of a team that went to the Western Conference Finals last year. Like, they're still really good.
It's a lot of Anthony Edwards, and they just didn't address it.
Oh yeah, but they tricked off how many games early on in the season, and they're still at 31-25 right now. Like they're still a really good basketball team, despite the fact that they are kind of just a bad vibes team for the most part at this point.
Yeah. So I think the only way if you're the Kings, the only way I see, unless the Warriors thing just doesn't work,
which is still a very real possibility.
Yes, very real. But I think the Suns are done. It's over. You need either one of it's easy math here. You need to win games, number one, and stop losing to bad teams, which we've been saying for 2 years. But number two, you need one of those three teams to just not figure it out.
I mean, I've got the schedule game research that I did today, and dude, it's harder than you think it is.
I think it's pretty hard. I'm taking them at a 9-10 because I have to.
Even whatever your expectations are, I'm telling you, it's harder than you think. Maybe we'll do the schedule game now or tomorrow, but I'm telling you, it's going to be hard for the Sacramento Kings to get out of that 9-10. Same with the Warriors.
To get out of the 9-10.
Yes. It's going to be hard for the Warriors, too, to get out of the 9-10. But because the Warriors just added Jimmy Butler and gave up, like Wiggins and Kyle Anderson, we look at the Warriors and say, well, they obviously got better at the deadline, so therefore they've got a better shot at it than, in theory, the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're the team that we made the move that we wanted to move. The Kings made a move that they kind of had to move, and then made some moves that they wanted to make, but it was all kind of based upon what happened with the dude in San Antonio. So, I got a low bar this season, and I'm really just curious as to how it plays out with Zach. What version of Zach LaVine do we see? You saw him respond to the conversations, I think it was from Ja Morant, about doing the All-Star. Just real quick on that. It went from Giannis joking, saying he was hacked, to Ja Morant saying, "What's up?" to Zach LaVine, and I saw Aaron Gordon respond today. Do you actually think that any of them will do it, or is this, what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when you hang out with either a group of friends or maybe family because you had to. Maybe it was a family reunion or, classmates. It was a retreat and you had to hang out with them, right? So during it, while the vibes are great, we got to do this more often. This is awesome. We actually have so much in common. And then you never hit them up again. That's what this was giving to me. It was everybody's high on Mac McClung's dunk and Stephon Castle. Man, I feel like I should do it. Then you wake up in the morning and nah, I don't think so.
You're exactly right, because this is the second time Ja Morant has done this. I believe it was 2 years ago. He said the exact same thing after the dunk contest. In fairness to him, I think the NBA was saying we can't put him in a dunk contest after what happened after that. But they've done this before. I think it would be fun to see Zach LaVine versus Aaron Gordon, the old heads, one last time.
I don't want to see that.
I want to, just because it's the end of that era, right? They did it every 5 years. 2016 was the Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine. 2020 was the Derek Jones versus Aaron Gordon. Every 5 years, they just got to come back and do one last dunk contest. Now that they're old and, well, in Zach LaVine's case, playing in Sacramento, I think it would be fun to just have the old heads one last time before they get rid of the dunk contest and replace it with a one-on-one tournament.
I don't need to see that. But and someone else on the text line is saying they don't need to see Devin Carter on the court. They're going hard on Devin Carter. I'll tell you what they're saying and whether or not the Devin Carter decision is a bad one. Already? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the Roseville Auto Mall.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Curran in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We are expecting increasing clouds throughout the day today. Winds will be out of the northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, and afternoon highs today expected to top out in the mid-60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA app.
There's only one place where you'll find thousands of top brand vehicles and a friendly staff. Find the perfect ride tailored to fit your budget and save even more when you shop the largest selection of certified and pre-owned vehicles online at RosevilleAutomall.com. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
The PGA Club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with the California Army National Guard. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
This 49er Injury Report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries. Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
The huge President's Day sale is on at Maida Chevy, Sacramento Silverado headquarters. Save $10,250 off MSRP after rebates on new half-ton Silverado LT after rebates with over 50 in stock. And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $10,250 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
I'm George Washington, and I approved this message. Not available with special financing, leasing, some other offers. 5 to the South, Mustang 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
We are getting very close to Major League Baseball starting up. Spring training starts today. Seeing some live BP action from Willy Adames, the newly acquired shortstop for the San Francisco Giants. He's homered twice or 2 days straight as far as live BP action against pitchers. So great start for him. We talked some A's earlier in the show, and I have some more A's news for you. This is from Susan Slusser, who covers just baseball in general, but mostly the Giants for the SF Chronicle. This is what she had to say about 5 minutes ago. Rob Manfred says Sutter Health Park will be, quote, as close to, quote, a big league facility as possible when I asked him his impressions of his visit there. He says a stadium in Las Vegas still on track to be open by 2028. And then Susan closes saying, doesn't answer when shovels will be in the ground. There you go. Will be as close to a big league facility as possible when he was asked about his impressions of his visit there.
I went for a bike ride yesterday down West Sacramento, Capitol. On my way back, there's no scoreboard on that stadium. They are putting in a new scoreboard at Sutter Health Park.
Oh yes, I was there doing some River Cat stuff while it was being torn down, and yeah, it's going to be huge. That's the thing, whether they stay or not at the end of all this, and they're not supposed to stay, but a lot of people, there's a ulterior motive and there's a bigger plan. Whether they stay or not, that ballpark is going to be insane. It's going to be, you would assume, you better be the best AAA ballpark in the league.
I don't know. That Buffalo one's pretty good, but it's getting a glow up all right. I saw the stadium or the left field clubhouse that's going to be double storied out there is going to be a whole thing. And I'm just curious to see what it looks like, because it right now just looks like a ripped up field with no scoreboard, but it'll be interesting to see what it actually looks like by the time you get to March and they're playing games there. But
when did you say you rode by it?
Last night.
They better get going.
I mean, the scoreboard, all you got to do is just put that up. That'll take like one day, I would guess.
February 18th.
I mean, first game, March 29th, I want to say.
Yeah.
The clubhouse is not done, by the way, yet. I saw that. It's not done being constructed. Like the framework is in, but I see all the tape on the walls and everything else. Like, it's not done yet, but they got 6 weeks to figure it out. And I've also, kind of like Dave said this morning, I've given up on the hope that there's a chance the deal's going to fall through in Vegas, because they got the permits from the city, and part of that was a presentation from U.S. Bank that said John Fisher had the money to build the stadium. And so once you got that confirmation, I was kind of like, oh, if the bank is saying, yeah, they got the cash to build the stadium, then they have the financing in place. And that was always the issue, is would they have the financing in place to build that stadium there? And so I think they're probably on the way out after 2028. I think it's probably going to be 4 years in Sacramento, just based on the timeline of everything. I know Manfred's did the right thing and said they're going to be on track to open in 28. It's probably going to be 2029.
Well, all you can do is enjoy them while they're here. I'm not even going to talk about, that's like you go on vacation and you're thinking, oh man, your first day on vacation, or before you get on the plane, you're talking about, man, I don't want to leave in 4 days. You haven't even got on the plane yet. So, and that's why it wasn't my place, but all the conversations, it was obviously awkward for me being from the Bay, but all the conversations about, no, they're doing it because of this or that. Let's just wait it out and see, because we don't know. We have no clue, but everybody has to have sources, and we understand that. And, that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, all of this would be so awesome if it wasn't so awful what John Fisher did to Oakland and that community. Yeah. If it weren't for that hanging over everything, all of this would be so awesome.
Yeah, so, we'll see how this first year goes. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement to start. I'm curious about how long that lasts. And I think a huge part of it, as they extend Mark Kasse, the manager, as they add Luis Severino, they signed Brent Rooker, they got some guys coming in. A big part of it is people still don't want to see bad baseball, right? The only type of bad baseball is truly what they were talking about when they talked about the Yankees, the Red Sox, but people are not watching, and I would be curious as to what happens to the prices, but people are not watching bad baseball against the A's and the Angels. They're not doing it at a premium price. That's just not something that I think is going to happen. maybe after this season. I think every game will be packed this season.
That's my hypothesis, is that this season people will sell out for A's Angels. I'm curious if by the summer of year 2, when they're playing 7:30 games on Thursdays because it's 117 degrees outside, is there still going to be the same fervor?
So we were giving out grades, and, we skipped over Devin Carter because I just don't really know what to do with Devin Carter as a grade. RJ Alexander didn't want to skip over Devin Carter, though, on the Sack Chat. RJ says, am I the only person who strongly dislikes Devin Carter? I cringe when I see him on the floor. He goes on to say, Khalil Ware, Jared McCain, Dalton Knecht, Ryan Dunn, Jalen Wells, and the biggest miss for the Kings, Isaiah Collier, could use a point guard today. So a couple people chiming in saying Joseph Edwards, Carter is terrible. I agree, RJ. So I'm not going to give Devin Carter a grade. All right. 209 Dwayne is saying that Carter is a bust. I knew it. Should have traded him while he has value, or while he had value. I'm not going to give Devin Carter a grade. What I will say is that the idea of him being a point guard is interesting after seeing him. I know that he has been injured and he was trying to get his sea legs, so we get all that. But even what I watched at Providence, he wasn't really handling the ball that much. He wasn't orchestrating an offense. So you take a guard who, is a decent size for a guard. We know the wingspan, everything like that. But he also can't handle the rock, when at the time you had Davion Mitchell, who can handle the rock, but he doesn't really create. You had Colby Jones, who can't really create. You still have Mason Jones. You had Keon Ellis, and you had Malik Monk, and you had De'Aaron Fox. So it doesn't I don't know how good Devin Carter is going to be, but the whole steal of the draft thing, this could look really bad for Monty. It could. And I'm not saying it will, because if Devin Carter works out, then we all say, hey, he found him. He found a guy. But it's off to and then on top of that, we find out that they knew he was injured, which is maybe in part why he dropped. So this could be a very, very bad situation where you just don't get off to the right foot, timelines are off, and it doesn't work out. You still have a ton of guards, right? Because you added Levine. So I don't know what's going to happen with Devin Carter. I think that, look, anything can happen. To me, the bigger issue is that the pick just didn't make sense to me. It just didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. You wanted some of the other guys that were available, like Salon and everyone else.
And he wasn't available, but Dalton Knecht was, Khalil Ware was.
Here's my thoughts, is that basically from pick 11 to pick, call it 25 or 30, you got a 50-50 shot of that person being a contributor in the NBA. And the average NBA career length is already, 3.5 years, basically. And if you look at the first, go from 10 to 26, basically, you got 8 guys that you feel like are going to be NBA contributors, 8 guys that are kind of like Donovan Clingan, Matas Buzelis, Cody Williams.
Hold on now. I like Matas.
I know, but what have you seen this year?
He also was bad in the dunk contest.
And you picked him to win.
I know. All right, continue.
Anyway, Cody Williams with the Jazz hasn't really seen the floor that much.
Right.
Topic.
Injured.
Yeah, injured. But our Thunder fans saying, oh my God, imagine if we had gotten Jared McCain. Not really, Bub Carrington with the Wizards. He actually has, I know I joked the O LeBron, D LeBron, C LeBron, A LeBron. He has the worst LeBron rating in the NBA this year. So Bub Carrington's just out there doing his thing.
Yeah.
And then you had all the hits. Jacoby Walter with the Raptors.
It wasn't supposed to be a good draft.
That's the other part. Yves Missi, we'll see what happens. So a lot of these players you don't know right out the bat. Yes, it sucks that Khalil Ware, Jared McCain, Dalton Connect, and Tristan Da Silva, who went 3 picks in a row, all look like they're going to be contributors in the NBA at a position of need for the Sacramento Kings. But that has nothing to do with the actual pick itself of Devin Carter. You're just making the assessment of what could have been, and without recognizing that Devin Carter might be just as good as those guys.
Yeah, maybe. To me, it's just a matter of what the need was. What's funny is Tajon Salah, who has not looked good at all, to your point, if you're the Hornets, you have Mark Williams. So after Tajon Salah, it goes Donovan Clingan, Rob Dillingham, Zach Edey, Cody Williams, Matas, then Topic, and then Devin Carter. So if you're the Hornets, there's not even anybody out there to kick yourself over yet, right? We'll see what happens, but nobody is really kicking themselves over anybody yet. So if you are worried about Devin Carter, that's the one thing I will say. Maybe it's Khalil Ware. We don't know, but there are no obvious decisions yet. It could end up being the Thunder saying we should have taken Devin Carter. We don't know. We do not know. What we do know is that Whitey Gleason joins us on the other side to close out the show. A little bit of crosstalk Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends over at Jiffy Lube, and they want to show some customer love this month with their February oil change deals you can find online today. Visit jiffylube.com and find a service center near you to see these sweetheart deals, get it, during the month of February. Here's what you do. Drive into savings at jiffylube.com today and let yourself save in the month of February. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip, if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Are you feeling trapped by a timeshare you barely use? With maintenance fees piling up, calls from creditors, and the stress of mounting interest, it's time to break free. At RFA Cancellation, they specialize in legally canceling timeshares. If you've received a maintenance fee bill and don't know what to do, you're not alone. Over 2,000 people hired RFA Cancellation last year, and they're no longer paying those fees this year. Imagine starting 2025 free from collections, daily calls, and endless bills. Whether your timeshare is sitting unused or you're overwhelmed by unexpected costs, they're here to help. Call RFA Cancellation today, 800-823-1687. That's 800-823-1687. Their friendly experts will guide you through every step, ensuring a smooth and stress-free process. Don't let another year go by. Get in touch and take the first step toward freedom. RFA Cancellation, your path to financial relief.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Whitey Gleason joins us. Whitey, how was your extra day off?
It was good. I was a little under the weather, so I just kind of edged out and watched a lot of stuff, including the Saturday Night Live 50th reunion.
You got the
anniversary show.
3 hours.
And they had Nirvana got together with Post Malone on lead vocals. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I need to finish it, but it's like 3. It was lengthy.
Yeah, little uneven, because it had so much to encompass. But there's some funny parts in there.
Yeah. Everyone kept random people kept popping up and that was a dream of mine back in the day.
Really?
SNL.
I think I literally had that dream that I was hosting Saturday Night Live.
You did?
I think I literally, yeah. The funniest part to me was Eddie Murphy as Tracy Morgan.
Yes.
When Tracy Morgan was in the same skit.
Yes. Yeah. And the more people laughed, it felt like Tracy. Yeah. I think he was just playing along.
And Kenan Thompson goes, "Hey, you guys could be related." Yeah. And he goes, "I don't see it."
I don't see it. Yeah, that was good stuff. Well, look, I mean, that was good stuff on Sunday. But as far as Saturday, or I guess Sunday and Saturday concerned, are you guys touching on the All-Star? We didn't really do dunk contest because it was Saturday.
Dunk contest was great.
I thought it was great.
I mean, I know it's in Vogue just how terrible the whole thing was.
Yeah.
And it was a little spotty here and there, but the dunk contest, I was sitting there like ready to go. This is awful. Why are we even doing this? That's like, I don't believe I saw that.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah, it was great. I was there on Sunday. I saw Jay there as well on Sunday. It was just too much Kevin Hart, too much clunkiness.
How can you have too much Kevin Hart?
If they had done a third of it and just let them play, I think it would have been, because there are clips on social media where Kevin Hart was really funny. And I was saying during the show, to give Kevin Hart some credit here, they paid him handsomely, I'm sure, not the pocket watch, but it's here you go. Now freestyle for 3 hours and don't say anything that's going to get us in trouble. And he toted the line, but it's also, he was kind of set up to fail. You got to freestyle for 3 hours. It just wasn't. I blame the structure more than I blame Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things they probably knew right away. It's like, oh, bad idea, but we can't change it now. Because when he first came out, I wasn't there like you, so I defer to you. But the way it looked to me, when he first came out, they showed some of the players on the court, and like Shea was going like, let's go.
He was not happy.
Let's play.
And he was trying to, because there was this, and I don't know if you guys could see on the TV, but there was literally, I think they came back from a timeout or a commercial or something, and Kevin Hart starts on one of his things, and the ref is just sitting there with the ball. And I guess why they couldn't pass it in until Kevin was done, I don't know, but they didn't. And then they pass it into him. And it was, it was kind of rough, but hey, they're trying. Draymond Green, it was the Draymond Green show proclaiming the Warriors are going to win the whole thing.
Allen
and saying,
like,
and the young dude shouldn't be there. Dalton Connect Draymond is one of those guys where he just, at this point, what I think he needs to be careful, because he was going, because I've been there. Draymond was basically me at our first round table. And we're going to do another round table coming up where stuff was just.
Is there anything that's ever happened that you don't relate back to you?
Oh, not much.
Okay.
Not much. So
his life is basically just Draymond Green's.
Yeah, no, that's not true. But basically, he was just playing a character. But I do think he needs to be careful because people are going to. I do think he does have a level of cachet because being a champ. But the way he's going at it, man, he might lose that cachet where people just don't care what you have to say anymore.
If you think he's obnoxious now, just wait until he's either a coach or an analyst or both.
I forgot about that. They promised him the coaching.
That's what he said.
But who says that?
Right.
That's just Joe Lacob passing in during the team party, being like, you know what, Draymond, I think you should be the coach of the Warriors. That's just Lacob doing his thing.
Couple sips in. late night at one of the parties.
But just
you know
wait
you're my
till he's
guy.
an analyst, and every game afterwards he tells everybody, "No, this is what they should have done. This is what I would have done with staff." It's gonna be
Yeah, as we are moving, we didn't want to do too much.
Actually, a fact.
We didn't want to do too much Kings today, just because they don't play again till Friday.
It's actually a fact.
Friday?
Yeah. So you do have Hornets Lakers tomorrow,
right?
So we'll be back. Yeah, we'll be back in action tomorrow.
So, Ellen, is that why LeBron didn't play? Was he protesting the fact that they got to play? And I know, as Kyle pointed out, it's a fire makeup, if I may use that term, and don't mean to be insensitive in the least, but that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, so you think LeBron was like, they're going to make us play on Wednesday? Watch this. Oh, my knee hurts. My ankle hurts.
Oh, did you not hear Allen's conspiracy theory earlier?
I guess I didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not even a conspiracy theory. I think that, look, I maybe I'm giving LeBron too much credit. I think he gave them the information in a decent amount of time. For Norman Powell, who was in the building, right, and Domantas Sabonis, who's just down the road, I think that at some point he gave them enough time. He said, hey, I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm just going to be honest. And Adam Silver said, thank you for that information. We're not going to say anything.
Wow.
That's what I mean, that makes the most sense to me.
What's the upside there?
Because he said, in theory, people would not show up or fly into San Francisco if they knew LeBron wasn't going to play.
Yes. So that because to me, LeBron, the fact that he didn't get dressed or anything like that, he almost didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? So if you don't want to be there, don't be there. You're still an all-star. You don't lose your, because some people thought, oh, you're going to lose your spot. No, you don't lose your spot, right?
That's probably it. There's probably a really nice gift bag you get, and he was afraid.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get my gift bag.
Right. He's not going to get
I don't want Norman Powell or Domas to get my gift bag.
He didn't want to get the Ghirardelli. Didn't want to miss out on the Ghirardelli chocolate.
Right, like half off on the the red and white cruise.
Right.
And,
right.
If we know
we
know anything about LeBron, he loves free stuff.
Yeah.
So I
half off coupon with purchase of a regular, ticket.
Because how Giannis played it, and nobody's saying anything about Anthony Edwards. The weird thing about Anthony Edwards was, I guess it was an illness, but that dude was shooting around before the game for like an hour with other players. So I don't know. I don't know what to do there, but yeah, that was my conspiracy theory on LeBron. I think that the league knew, and I don't want to say threw him under the bus, but they weren't going to announce. They just don't. Just tell us, but you don't need to say anything.
Yeah, I'll give you a double conspiracy theory. A, LeBron didn't want to play because he was protesting the fact that they have to play Wednesday, and B, there was no way Domas was going to get that spot because coaches who were involved in the selection view him as the one responsible for Mike Brown's firing.
Whoa!
There's a double conspiracy theory.
Whoa!
And all of this is somehow related to LeBron James playing on Wednesday. LeBron was in on the joke.
The Wednesday thing, to me, you think he was that upset?
No, I read it somewhere. I doubt it.
Because
to me, it's legit. Like, his ankle hurts and he's an older guy and he's not going to play. All right. I don't have an issue with that.
No. But everyone's been saying the issue is, why when you decided to say it. I'm telling you, 10 years from now, LeBron's going to say, I told them earlier that week. And they decided to do what they said. They said, don't say anything out loud.
And so the NBA committed the grand crime of making it so that Norman Powell couldn't be an all-star.
Right. And by the way, he would have got 2 minutes, by the way. Did you see the comparison? It was like 33 minutes of basketball played compared to the 3-hour extravaganza.
Yeah, it didn't hold my interest. I watched a little bit of the basketball. Was better than what we've seen, but it didn't hold my interest.
You went on the snubs team?
I'm sorry?
The all snub team instead of the Rising Stars?
No.
Isn't that kind of weird? The one thing, we didn't get into this, the one weird thing about the snubs team would be, I guess because you were so close, you get some of the action, because then you're just there for All-Star Weekend. If you're Domas or whoever, you're thinking, well, if I'm not an all-star, at least I get a rest and get to kick it with my family. I got to come out and play these guys.
Doubly insulting.
How about instead we just do what we should have done the whole time and do 15 all-stars per conference, so then we can make 4 teams.
Haven't heard that one. There you go.
Yeah, but
That's
hey,
it.
There's no reason it shouldn't be 15. I also thought the craziest thing that didn't get talked about was Nikola Jokic straight up said the All-Star game is not for me, and no one's talking about it.
I'm glad you said that because you know for a fact that all the people that came to San Francisco, like the commissioner, that have the day off here, what are we going to do? Let's go to Sacramento. So you know they're all in town right now, and you know the commissioner just heard him say that.
That's right.
And when we're in Sacramento, we got to hear Allen Stiles.
That's right. That's exactly right. What do you have coming up on the show today?
We're going to talk to Joe Davidson about the high school playoffs, and we're going to talk about everything from the All-Star Weekend to the new extension for the A's manager.
That's right. Mark Kotze, they may be in Vegas by the time he has that team option, or they might still be here.
Jay says they ain't going to Vegas at all.
Each day that passes, I'm not getting into it, but just enjoy it while they're here. That's all I'm going to say, because we don't know. We don't know. What we do know is that the Drive Guys are up next. Thank you for listening to the Allen Stiles Show. Thank you to Kyle. Great job as always. Callers, texters, sack chatters, Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson. Until tomorrow, secure the bag. Like the beam.
Gotta go.
Getting your guarantee